want to see how the Instagram thing goes. What up, fam? We're live on Instagram when we're ready to take calls from the MAGAs. Super short song today. Let's just make that it. Let's just make that the one. We don't usually go live over on Instagram. What's up, everybody? That screen will fill up very, very shortly above me because Luxander will be joining me. However, Luxander is right now getting off of their other show. So that's a whole thing that's happening. I don't know if they're still going or what's going on over there, but I'm Jimmy Snow. This is Calling It Now. Decided to go ahead and try a little simul stream broadcast to Instagram just for fun. In fact, if you're watching on Instagram, go ahead and hit that little like thing and let's see if we can't get this into people's algorithms. I wish there was an easy way for me to now. We've never done the Instagram thing, so I was trying to see if there was a way for me to like change the title on the go, but I don't see a way to do so. But anyway, otherwise we are over on YouTube at the moment. Good to see everybody, and by that I mean good to be here and be seen by you, because I can't see any of you. How would I? How would I do that? I think our Instagram, is anybody on Instagram? Anybody seeing us right now? Y'all could just tell us. Okay, someone said burn the patriarchy. That's good enough for me. Yeah, welcome. This is Calling It Now, the foremost show where all the people who claim to be Charlie Kirk can call in and Kirk it up. They can call in and tell us why we're wrong. Happy New Year, everybody. It is January 1st, 2026. And while we're getting started here, I'd love to hear in the chat some people's opinions. We started polling our own people last night, get some predictions. And I'm curious, let's actually just start a poll in the live chat on YouTube. Sorry, Instagram. There's not enough people there to even try to figure out if that's possible, but it doesn't look like there is. Anyway, that it is possible. Let's just go with this time 1 year from now. For any reason. No, well, I'll just put 1 year from now, and that's sort of implied. Will Donald Trump still be the president? Or I'll even put POTUS. We'll put POTUS. Yes or no? Let's find out what the chat thinks about that. If you would like to call and debate Luxander and myself on any issues the left takes on, any leftist, atheist, queer supporting, trans supporting issues, you can do so. Luthien, send me a chat, or in the Discord chat. Tell me what happened with that call. Oh, I assume you just told them actually to call back from the phone. Probably someone being trolly, or worried about being trolly. People, when they call them from the web caller, when we have a phone number they can call in the US, is always like we know what you're up to. We know what you're doing. Looks like Lux is joining now, so we can change that source there for Lux. Hey, we match. We're both green attired.
Yeah.
I'm told I look good in green. My partner gets extra horny when I put on green, so I like that.
Makes sense.
I like the feels. I like how it makes me feel. All right. Our phone number, if anybody who is MAGA would like to call in and debate us, 336-543-2101. 336-543-2101. And you can call us and we'll talk to you, and you can tell us why we're wrong, and we'll tell you why we think you are wrong about us being wrong, or we can evaluate what I even more like. I would like to know if you're watching right now and you are pro Donald Trump, you are pro MAGA. Why? What has he done to still hold your support? What would you say he is doing well that honestly anyone else couldn't do better? I love when people say immigration, because by their standard, Obama did it better. That's like the funniest thing. Their standard seems to just be the maximum number of deportations per year. And despite skyrocketing how much we spend per deportation, Donald Trump has nothing on Obama. He has not gotten his numbers up. So by their standard, Obama would be better. But for real, I don't
They
I
can't
don't
give a
have,
liberal credit for anything.
well, who should anyway? We just got to get them past, get them all the way past everything. Jimmy is lying. What did I lie about this time, Pam? This time what next year? So 53% of people believe no. I'm surprised it's closer. Amongst our staff, amongst the people last night, only myself and Luxander were hard, like we're saying no. And then Forrest, when he came in late, was like, I'm optimistically gonna say no. He more gave a hopeful vote more than an assessment of information that he believes will ultimately culminate in the vacation of Donald Trump's seat. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I think a lot of people think it's sickness, which I guess today he kind of confessed that he's wearing compression socks and mentioned something else as a method of concealing his illness. I will say he's not looking upright. And I'll tell you this too. One thing we didn't bring up last night. Um, Donald Trump is obsessed with image. And if he is lucid enough of the time to know that his dementia has gotten to a point that he's capable of seeing that it will be embarrassing if he goes wild. In other words, if his lucidity is split up, that would do it. If he had to end up in a wheelchair, that man will never let America see him in a wheelchair. I don't think. I think he would be ashamed of being in a wheelchair. Uh, as I recall, in his first administration, there were leaks of people talking about the way he talked shit about Greg Abbott being in a wheelchair. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
making that up, right? Or rather, I don't. I never looked into it, but I don't think that that was an uncommon leak.
I
But I
mean,
don't.
yeah, he was the ableist about a lot of things in his first
Yeah,
term. So it wouldn't surprise me. Like, liberals call Greg Abbott Hot Wheels as like a way to denigrate him, and it seems like that's exactly up Trump's alley. So
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like his pride is so great that I don't know if anything would cause him to willingly relinquish the power. But I think we just were talking, Dr. Ben and I, about the dementia types that Trump could have. And Ben is like open to the idea that there could be a critical health failure in the near-ish future. But
yeah,
it's like, if it seems like they're going to be able to keep him in office, then they're going to try to do that for as long as possible, even if they're just like, oh, the president is giving directions from his bunker under the White House or something, silly like that.
yeah. Yep. All right. Well, let's go to. We have a call. This one's going to be more religious. I'm much more interested in talking to MAGA people, but we can, start elsewhere at first. Liam in New Jersey, you are on the line with Jimmy and Luxander. Liam in New Jersey. How old are you, Liam? Liam in New Jersey, you're on the line. Can you hear us, Liam?
Hello, hello.
Getting your soundboard ready? Liam. Hello, Liam. Liam. Did your soundboard fail? Liam. All right. Well, you can try calling back, Liam, because we have no audio from you.
So sad.
You want to hear a voicemail someone left?
Sure.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. There were a couple of voicemails. So this line has a voicemail when we're not live. We also have a voicemail that is 386 atheist. However, there's an old lady who would appreciate it if y'all would learn how to spell atheist. It is it is not spelled atheist. It is the like theism. Nobody misspells theist, not really. It's just theist with an A at the beginning. You could say it's atheist if you like, but there's a little old lady in wherever that number is. Also, there's a funny thing that people think that we're using this phone number because I'm trying to hide that I'm from outside of Austin. I literally say it on air all of the time. It's a weird thing. All right, here's a very sweet voicemail I recently received.
Jimmy, seriously, dude, you're one of the dumbest shit bitches. Everything you report, your own station, CNN, MSNBC, contradiction. They're not reporting one fucking word that you've been saying. I mean, how stupid are you? You're a dumb little bitch. You got your VPN, man, but they know. But yeah, you're right there outside of Austin. Yeah. What a joke. Dude, your shit is weak, man. You've really fallen off. But hey, man, God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing.
He's not done.
You're one of the reasons why Gen Z is having the biggest revival of going back to church. Because the atheists like you, God bless you, man. You're one useful idiot, bitch.
So obviously a lot of very substantive claims in there. What I liked was
Intellectual
the
juggernaut.
examples. I like that he showed that he clearly knows my positions because his own was that CNN and MSNBC don't agree with me. Those, the liberal organizations. I liked how he made very clear points, very good points to rebut, and it wasn't just yeah, you're dumb, you're helping us, so I love it. I'm totally not trying to reverse psychology you, but I'm too redacted to pull it off. So anyway, it's very funny when people are like, oh, you could use your VPN. I literally don't know to what I don't use a VPN for anything show related.
Imagine trying to run a VPN while streaming.
Yeah, it literally messes stuff up.
Yeah,
it definitely messes stuff up. In times where I've accidentally left a VPN on because somebody like trying to join from something, and then it'd be like an hour of like hitting my head against the wall of like, why can't I even join? What's wrong? And then I realized like, oh my God, my VPN was on the whole time. Anyway, the fans are fansing as much as ever. People love us. People love us. This is obviously the most popular channel on YouTube, and that person just was full of so much substance. So much substance. That individual who left that voicemail is from the Tyler, Texas area, by the way. So you didn't even tell us, and I can figure that out. But I literally say all the time that I live just outside Austin. I don't know what the VPN thing is. I think somebody tried to leave a comment like that the other day too. It's probably the same guy. And they're like, Jimmy, he's trying to hide that but we all know he's from just outside Austin, which is like, again, something I'm so open about. But I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, but he's trying to use a new North Carolina number to hide it. It was like, again, things we talk about. I chose a phone number that was easy to remember. The phone number literally has 6543210 in it. That's why the number. This is what's going to drive you even crazier. I still use a Colorado phone number. Sometimes I also have a Texas number. Like, oh God, I'm just really trying to hide who I am and where to find me.
but why wouldn't you?
Right. There isn't anything weird about having a pseudonym when you guys literally have Instagram accounts dedicated to trying to ruin people's lives because they don't care Charlie Kirk got capped. You know, literally somebody tagged Javon posted the video of him last night when I asked, what do you think the biggest news story of the year will be? And he wrote including or not including gang violence. He said that in response. It was very funny. And he posted that clip, and the guy and someone in his live chat literally tagged one of those stupid like beta bitch Republican accounts that are like, it would ruin it. Let's ruin him. I love too when they say let's ruin them as though they participate in any real meaningful way. It's like the people who back in the day when Anonymous was doing DDoS attacks would be like, well, I'm going to go and put that website into my browser. So technically I'll be one of the pings overwhelming the system. So I'm anonymous, By the way, guys, did you know that I'm anonymous? I had a friend who was that way. He was like, yeah. It was pretty cool, some of those things we did back then. I was like, shut the actual fuck up. You think because you went to, I'm trying to remember what the big famous like website shutdowns were back in the day. I can't even remember. That's how little these things took effect. But they would, they would take credit if during a DDoS attack, they also tried to open like the Xbox website, because technically that contributed to overwhelming the system. Anyway, let's talk to Liam in New Jersey, see if he's got his mic figured out. Liam in New Jersey, how old are you? Liam in New Jersey. Liam in New Jersey. Luthien, when they called back, did you screen them? Like,
Yeah,
did
I can hear them.
you can hear them right now? We just can't.
No, not right now.
So you can hear them when you screen, but we can't hear
Yeah.
them. But we've already confirmed that we can hear you on the call system. Let's just test it again real quick.
I figured out.
Did you figure it out? Is it fixed? Liam in New Jersey, can you hear us? Hello, Liam. I can hear Liam's mic, but Liam can't hear us. Luthien, call in real quick. I just want to make sure it's not us. Let's find out if we're having tech issues.
Technical difficulties.
Now let's play How Do We Hope? What do we hope is the number one reason
The number one
that
news?
he's not president
Oh, okay, sure.
this time next year? I'm thinking of all the did you ever see the episode of or the show I Think You Should Leave when they're like, oh, at the end of the Who Will Be the Baby of the Year contest, they're listing like previous babies of the years who had passed. And they're listing with them how they died, but how they died keeps getting more and more absurd. So like it'd be like little Daffy Dinkins, pancaked by dump truck, things like that.
That's how we all want to go.
Let me pull Luthien in.
Hello?
Luthien, can you hear me in your phone?
Nope, I can't hear you.
Oh. Well, that I guess would be the problem. All right. Well, Lux is going to do stuff while I go figure out what happened.
Okay. Yeah, we were having a big debate last night about whether Trump is going to be president still at the end of the year, and like I do think that I managed to convince Ben to be on the side of like maybe he will expire before then. We also had a fiery debate about whether or not you should fart in front of your significant other, like whether if you've been together for like 10 plus years, is there a certain point at which the niceties of pretending like you never fart can like, does that develop at any point? And it was contentious. I feel like it was contentious, the argument that we had. So if you want to check last night's fun little hangout game night that we did for New Year's, it was a fun little conversation. Also, on a personal note, my channel at Luxander Moss as in like the fuzzy green stuff, I'm trying to get to 40,000 subscribers. I just hit 39,000, and I've been posting clips over there. I've been posting analysis videos. I also have my channel at Musing Moss where I do like movie reviews and stuff, but it's rough out there. So support small creators, get out there and support the little guy out there trying to make it in this world. Oh, Liam, we can hear Liam now. Okay, give me 1 second, Liam.
No, this is Jimmy, though. This is Jimmy.
Oh, this is Jimmy. Ah, okay, well, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All I heard was, I'm Moss, like a little green funny thing.
Yeah, that's me.
All right, I'll come back now.
Okay, come back. We're having fun. We're having a good time. We're getting ready to actually get this thing started. Listen, if you're MAGA or if you are conservative and you think that Trump is doing a good job, you should call in. We have got so many opinions that we are ready to talk to you about. So get in here, get in the queue. You won't have to wait very long or anything. Get in here.
All right, here we go. Liam in New Jersey. We got you now. Liam in New Jersey. How old are you?
Hey, Jimmy. I'm 30 years
What's
old.
up?
How are you?
30 years old. Just fine. And you're only calling in with a religious topic? You don't want to get political today?
I'm not a big fan of Trump, to be honest, so I don't think I did a good job defending him.
Did you vote for Trump?
I may have voted for him, but it's not like a
How
thing
many times?
I'm ecstatic about. Only once.
Only the once. Did you vote for Biden in 20?
2020, can't actually remember. I can't remember that far back. I don't know. Did you vote for Kamala Harris?
Sure did.
Was she going to give you everything you wanted?
Of course not.
All right, we're in the same boat in some ways.
Not really.
No?
Because the vote is never who's going to give you everything you wanted. But in this case, the vote was who's going to be a goddamn tyrant and who's going to basically be status quo. And status quo is infinitely superior to undermining constitutional rights and tyranny.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What was your religious topic you wanted to call in on?
Oh, do you guys have like a particular stance on the show about if the mind is material or not? Is that like a stance you guys take?
Sure. I mean, there's no reason to believe anything exists outside of the material and natural world. So,
okay.
And there's plenty of good reasons to believe that the mind is material. So if anybody is here to claim otherwise, they need only prove that any other type of mind they have has a sufficient reason to believe is possible and then is also the case. And I would argue that not even the burden of possibility for a supernatural mind of any kind has been demonstrated.
I'm talking about just our own minds that we're interacting with. I don't want to get all in the weeds about like theism.
Okay. But I didn't invoke a god. Did I invoke a god there at all? Okay. No, I literally never invoked a theism. I invoked the supernatural, but I never invoked theism at all.
Yeah, I just want to know like how our mind, our intellect. So when I describe that, I mean the thing that allows you to have conceptual language to form propositions and arguments that is not found in animals. That can't be like centrally located.
Language is found in animals, but to be the first one with advanced intelligence, which is something we more call it because we have it. But obviously our intelligence is why we've been able to dominate the planet and now destroy it. To be call it the first species to achieve it, to then look back and go, therefore, there's something special about it is not exactly all that compelling to me. And we have evidence through anthropology, primatology, and the like that as we look back, clearly more basic versions of these things existed in human species that preceded Homo sapiens.
I don't think we have any reason to believe that there was formal language. Not at least in the sense, making tools or something, monkeys can do that, but set aside like the color or a triangle, like me and you both know we're talking about a triangle. We both labeled that and have a concept of it. Yeah, I think that's something strictly with human beings.
Now, whales have concepts of language.
Yeah, orcas and dolphins have names. Like they name one another and they have different dialects from pod to pod.
But we have the most human-like language. It's not that impressive to say. But again, Liam, all you're describing is that the specific thing our brain does uniquely and the way in which it is unique to our species and part of why we are defined as a separate species is therefore proof of what?
So if we have formal thought processes that allow for us to have some type of conceptual content, there's no conceptual content found in the world. Just because a stop sign says stop, it's red, it's octagon shape, that in the world doesn't have any meaning. We put the meaning onto it, right, with our own heads. We do that through our brains. So if that does not have an external meaning, the internal meaning we put in our brains doesn't, like, we invoke the actual meaning to that concept.
Sure, like my dog. I've taught my dog internal meanings of hand commands that I give them because my dog both follows audible and physical commands. I don't have to say its commands out loud.
But your dog has imagination. It has sensory input. It has emotions. It has some
subjective
kind of
experiences,
but it does not understand concepts. The dog can't form a concept of what food is.
What? let's say you're right. I don't think you are. I think he can't form concepts at the level a human can, and he doesn't articulate through language or think in language the way we do. We do see language elsewhere, but again, if only one species has evolved something, and again, we do see the actual development of our species, including the thing that is unique about our species is the complexity, the efficiency, the density, and the size of our brain. And we can see that more primitive versions of these concepts existed in more primitive versions of our species. Then right now, still the explanation would be those things emerged from the evolutionary path that our species took. That would be what you would deduce. So again, right now we've only talked about, nobody disagrees that Homo sapiens are unique to other species. It's why we are another species, part of why. We are unique. But why is the way in which we are unique, why is it necessary to invoke the supernatural?
Well, the conceptual content we have is unique. And I would argue that's why our souls are immaterial, which is, if I want to define, not use a term like soul, but intellect, that is a unique thing to human beings. It is immaterial.
Great, prove it. Because I don't agree. I think that everything that occurs in the natural or in the material brain. There seems to be plenty of evidence for that, mostly that we cannot prove that any brain process, any amount of memory concept or anything continues for the individual past their death, that it requires other brains around to maintain it. We have no proof of anything like a soul. So if you want to say these things which are materially explained sufficiently to at least be present. Maybe we don't understand all the mechanisms yet, but every year we are getting more and more of the mechanisms of mapping more and more of the brain. We're not hitting any walls where we're going, consciousness will never be explained because we've hit this wall. Clearly we're closing the gap. And Liam, it sounds to me like you have a, not God of, but supernatural of the gaps where you go, either I'm having some metaphysical, philosophical, attachment to this idea that my thoughts must just be basically magic, or I'm very compelled by this gap that is ever closing, but still going to lay my flag in that gap is where the supernatural exists. I don't find any,
if
what is
science
compelling
does
about
discover
this,
that, what's compelling about it is that it is a gap. There is a gap there where the mind can't be pinpointed. And that is why theists proclaim that it is immaterial.
There is not a gap where the mind, the mind can be pinpointed to where it exists. The mechanisms of the mind are continuing to be explained. We can definitely prove that you can't think without a sufficient level of consciousness. That's easy to do. You just take like an anesthetic instead of a sedative. You won't even dream if you're on like true anesthesia. And it'll feel like it's the weirdest experience because hours can go by and for you it's a second. Whereas in lighter states of more sedated, less deep sleep, you still have a sense of time passing and you might dream and the like. When you die, we don't have any.
Is attached to the brain, but it is not a material. It's not a material reality. It is attached to the brain. It uses the brain to record sensory information.
What is it attached by?
What do you mean by what?
Yeah, what is it attached by? You're saying it's attached to the brain. Where do I find it separate from the brain?
Temporal lobes.
Those are all parts of the brain.
Mm-hmm. But you have not.
So what's the part outside of the brain where the mind is? There's no pinpoint. The mind, if you wanted to describe the mind would be a culmination of all of those things and the processes they do. So of course you can't pinpoint a single one of those systems because one of those systems isn't sufficient.
All of them.
The mind, what do you, of course, I believe the mind, our experience of the mind is everything that we experience, all of our, and it uses all of our brain. What definition of mind are you trying to use here? Because for me, it would be take whatever the brain is doing and the subjective experience that where you have more awareness of. So the things that are happening sort of behind the scenes anyway, I'm not as fussed with that if we're getting into a philosophical definition of the mind. What are you calling the mind?
Unambiguous conceptual concept.
Unambiguous, what was it? Unambiguous what?
Conceptual concepts.
Content. Okay, you said conceptual concepts the first time, which sounded absurd. Okay, well, I disagree.
Formal thought, your conceptual thought.
Great. And it happens in the mind. In fact, there's even been scans of the brain that show that even things with like decision making, you can scan in the brain and see that these the functions that are leading to decision making are often happening just slightly before we think they've happened. That are the function of making up our mind on something actually happens on a subconscious level before we are aware of it. So yeah. I don't, Liam, none of what you described is remotely impressive. And the ways in which we can attach that clearly the mind and the brain are related is proven in so many ways, including like these things that you're describing, our sort of greater self, our greater conceptual self
organ that's used.
Is so dramatically changed by if you go through something like take certain drugs, brain trauma, certain medical
we don't believe in
situations.
Dualism. We're not dualists. We don't believe like Descartes. We know that the mind is connected to the brain. We know that
but you're describing the mind as still as something separate from the brain.
We can't pinpoint it. That's all I'm saying. And I was wondering if you were a mind materialist, like where is it and how do you pinpoint it? If you can't do that, and science is going to close that gap.
We did used to lobotomize people, so we do know where consciousness exists in the brain. We have tampered with it. We have removed parts of the brain before to alter people's personality.
Tools, right?
We can introduce drugs to change people's personalities. Like I had a cousin who got in a car accident and got brain damage, and he could no longer filter out when it was appropriate to make sex jokes. So he would just make dirty jokes like at Christmas in front of the kids and stuff. Like, so your personality can be changed by brain damage. We don't have any evidence that a mind can exist outside of the brain. So I don't really see what problem you have with the idea that the mind is just a thing that the brain does when the brain gets complicated enough.
Right. And clearly this is somehow tied into your theism while you're defending a concept of, but the gap is still there, which means you know that the basis upon which you are holding this belief, if you know what the God of the gaps is, then you know it's a fallacy. You know it is fallacious to then give that some meaning. If you want to say you think that somewhere in their gap we might discover magic, fine. I don't, because no one has proven that magic exists or is even possible. So Liam, ultimately, this is just like a smell your own fart philosophy kind of thing. Can we get into something more actually substantive and something that isn't just like, I don't know, what is it you think I would do with this?
Stuff.
What is it?
If you don't want to talk about metaphysical things, that's fine.
Liam, I don't care what we talk about as long as it actually is substantive and isn't just bong hit theology of like, I just think the mind is like, it's a separate thing, even though it's totally dependent on the brain. And technically the mind's explanation as I'm describing it, what I'm really trying to describe is consciousness, could just be an emergent property and is a bit of an illusion. And I don't have a better defense of that is not true, though at least that one is proven to be possible because illusions are possible, because emergent properties of material existence are possible. Magic still not shown to be possible.
And I think it's okay. You don't have to pinpoint where the mind is. I was just asking. I didn't say that you had to take my argument. Why would you be calling in to make a materialistic point and think that on the basis of if we acknowledge that the mind, you're using the word pinpoint. It's a poisoning the well procedure because it suggests that we accept in the first place. I'm explaining to you right now. It is poisoning the well to say you can't pinpoint the brain. So unless we then take the argument back to the brain is an organ.
Sorry, the mind. Unless we take the argument back to that pinpoint is a fine enough phrase, it basically says we're accepting, to move on from there, that pinpoint is a good phrase and it's a bad phrase because pinpoint suggests literally what it sounds like, that we would be able to, with extremely narrow parameters, say here is the precise place that consciousness emerges. Here is the precise place of the thing we call the mind. Even as jackasses like yourself can keep broadening these terms to sound very good, but ultimately become meaningless, I can't point at the cell that is the consciousness cell when, again, the leading hypothesis is it's an emergent property of the brain, which would be all of it. I could just, as long as you're fine with, my pinpoint will be brain. But you're going to say that's not a pinpoint, which is why I reject pinpoint.
I'm going to say that it's not, the brain is the organ, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did I attack you at all? Like
the brain is the organ.
Call me a jackass.
No, Liam, are you feeling very sad that you were called a jackass? Would you like to take a moment to gather your feelings?
I see how some people calling on this show and are jerks to you. I'm not doing that to you. All right? We're just having a conversation.
I never said you were a jerk. I said you were a jackass.
It would be very Christian of me, would it be?
I think I described the parameter of the jackassery. But we can take a second if you need to gather your feelings.
There's always some simultaneous neural activity occurring in the brain. You can't assume that there's some unity that represents the mind as a continuous neural activity. Not always. When you
die, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does it go?
To dust.
Anyway.
I mean, so maybe this is an issue of just like not really understanding. Hold on one second. Maybe this is an issue of just not understanding neurobiology. And like, it's kind of freaky when you think about the fact that everything that you are, that you're able to conceive of yourself is just electricity. Like, it's just electrical signals. And much like when a battery dies, the electricity just goes away. So when we die and the electrical signals and the blood stop pumping, it just goes away. Like it doesn't, transport itself somewhere else. This is part of why I was saying earlier, like, we don't have any examples of a mind that exists without a brain, which means that a brain and the mind are intrinsically linked to one another. Like having a brain that's complex enough, it kind of gives birth to a mind.
Body and soul.
But like,
just using terms you've continued to demonstrate aren't possible or actually
it's mostly fat.
Hey, Liam, can you see? Are you blind? You can see? What do blind people see?
They have phantasms, it's called. It's perfectly material to have phantasms.
What do blind people see?
They can imagine. They have an imagination.
Wow, so you don't know, you can't answer the question at all. You just don't get it, I guess. Let me try this. Your vision, do you have vision in both eyes?
Of course.
At some point in your left eye, does your vision cut off?
In your peripheral vision?
Yeah, is there an end to your vision in your left eye? What do you see to the left of the vision in your left eye?
Can't see it.
Right. You don't see blackness. You don't see darkness. What do you see?
Your skull? I don't know.
No, you see nothing. Literally, you see nothing. There is a gap in your vision. Stuff is there. Take your hand, put it out, bring it to where you can no longer see it in your vision. It's not blocked by black. It's not blocked at all. Truly, there is nothing. Your brain doesn't even conceive that direction for your vision. That is what I believe you will experience after you die. All that nothing where your hand is, but universal to your vision, to your thoughts, you will truly experience nothing. And that is to say you won't experience. Yes. To make sure that they take advantage of the life they actually have, the consciousness they actually know that they get to participate in, and that they don't
think they'll be crippled by that? I don't know. I think it's a little irresponsible.
I think it's irresponsible to tell your I think it's irresponsible to tell your children things you don't know. And by the way, I think if you lie to your children, one day they're going to find out many truths, and you won't have set your child up so well to handle that they were relying on a bunch of lies you told them. Because my parents lied to me my entire childhood, and I wish they hadn't.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So your appeal to why we should lie, why we should tell children that when they die they'll go somewhere else, is primarily because it's a
I don't think that's a
nicer
lie.
answer. Okay, well then prove
I
it's
don't
the
think it's a
truth.
lie.
Then prove it's the truth. Because at the very least, if you can't prove it's the truth,
you don't take the material, the mind being immaterial, because it's the God of the gaps, and because we have other evidence that will eventually lead us to pinpoint how the mind actually works. So I'm assuming you'd say the same thing about
you
like
just took contention with the
first cause.
afterlife. We can switch back to the mind being immaterial, but we talked about the afterlife, what will happen when you die, and your contention with telling children with that was that it's really sad to tell them that.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say that's correct.
But it's the only thing that we can actually count on. To say that there's an afterlife,
it's a lie, I understand.
Correct.
I understand why you would say that. So
yeah.
I don't think that way. So I wouldn't be lying to my kids because I believe
it's a thing,
true.
One, that's impossible for people to know is true if it is true. It's an unfalsifiable belief. And two, we have good reasons that we can track back through human history where these myths came from to believe that they came from the same place. Literally to people who didn't understand to boil their water.
Arguments.
No, I don't.
You
are
have
incorrect.
faith in scientific arguments. No,
incorrect.
The theory of evolution doesn't require any faith. Faith at all. You have observable evidence
it does not,
for
it requires zero
macroevolution.
You are correct. It requires zero faith. You don't know what faith is. I'm sorry, Liam, do you not accept the theory of evolution? Are you outing yourself as an intellectual failure at this level also?
No.
You do not accept
the Catholic
theory.
Church does not say that you need to decline evolution like these evangelical churches do.
You do or do not accept the theory of evolution?
I don't think I'm required to answer that.
Okay, goodbye. If you don't want to participate in the conversation on our show in our terms, then why the fuck do I keep you here? I am asking you the question. Nobody's going to make
microevolution is evident.
I'm not going to have to keep you here. Do you accept the theory of evolution? Yes or no?
I accept microevolution.
Do you accept
I'm unsure
the
about
theory of evolution? Okay, well, that's absurd to pretend you have an understanding of any of the concepts that we've described and then sit there and go, I'm unsure of, because there's no such thing as microevolution. That is a creationist myth. Macroevolution is microevolution plus time. How old is the universe, Liam?
Do a Google search. How many billions of years old?
13.8 billion years. So what would happen if you did microevolution for, say, 3.5 billion years?
I don't see where it matters.
I believe that that's true. I believe you don't see why that matters. I agree that you don't get that.
I don't understand macroevolution entirely. I'll admit
I know you don't understand macro. I know you don't understand quote unquote macroevolution.
Yeah, I've read Richard Dawkins' book on the selfish gene. I've understood, mutations and things like that. I understand we can observe those kind of things.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
check my Goodreads if you want.
And and by the way, if it's in your Goodreads, that proves you read it, comprehended it, got it. That's what Goodreads is. I accept the things you're saying, Liam, the things that are material and make sense. Like I, Liam, don't understand macroevolution. I accept that. Are you hoping that you're going to get it explained to you here on a phone call?
No, I'm trying to see where you guys are at and like where you think.
I am right. Evolution is a fact. Evolution's a fact. So yeah, I am right.
BreadTube, man. I don't watch BreadTube.
Hank Green is not BreadTube, and Hank Green's science series is on an educational website. Yeah. It has nothing to do with quote unquote BreadTube. Hank Green is not a commie or a socialist.
No, he's definitely liberal.
I don't care what political belief he is.
You said he's BreadTube. What the fuck is BreadTube?
You're disregarding him because of your assumption about what category of genre he is on YouTube. We're talking about a science communicator.
What is the genetic fallacy, Liam?
All right, so you guys believe in the metaphysical truth, or you guys don't care about those things?
What is the genetic fallacy, Liam?
What is the genetic fallacy? I don't know. Why don't you define it for me?
I think you should Google it and add it to your Goodreads.
Hmm. All right. So have you guys had people call in on this and discuss the first way of Aquinas' 5 ways with you before? And I'm assuming that's a God of the gaps too. That's just putting, on the first cause and calling that God. I'm just wondering. I
Liam, we
haven't
don't
watched the
take
show that
calls
much.
where people are clearly masturbating.
Clearly. Yeah. I was addicted to that for 15 years and I stopped praying the
Now, I
rosary
know
every
they're
day.
all at least at 8 or above, but in the last 24 hours, which one of your farts was your favorite? You've already so sufficiently lost on every matter you've called in so
Lost
far.
on what?
And now you're trying to see if you can philosophy boy your way out when you've revealed to the audience that
All
you
right.
are a buffoon
You want physical
who
evidence?
uses the phrase microevolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So,
I've read the
you want
books. They're all my good reads.
empirical evidence instead of metaphysical?
Of what? Empirical evidence of what?
The resurrection of Jesus Christ?
Sure.
Shroud of Turin.
Shroud of Turin is debunked.
How?
It has been shown to be, is it a 13th century fraud?
That was a piece of the shroud that was resewn after the fire.
Hmm.
There's a more recent study on MDPI, 2022, using wide-angle X-ray scattering to determine that it was from 55 to 74 CE.
Mm-hmm. Wait.
If you don't want to
So
take my study, because I know we go into study hell.
Wait. The new study that you're claiming is better doesn't even date it back to Jesus's crucifixion. It's still at least 50 years later.
Jesus' crucifixion was not in year 0.
It was 4. Wasn't it 4 CE?
No.
What year was it?
First century 33.
Okay, let's say you're right. What numbers did you just say? And by the way, you are wrong. You are wrong about that. You think this study is more reliable,
you've already
and the
made up
sewn
your
back on
mind. I get
thing.
it.
Both of those things weren't true that you just said. But Jesus's CE, for people who use AD, it is often put somewhere between 26 and 36. So, and you said what date was it? What range was your newer one dated to?
The study that I'm saying about 2022 is that the fiber degradation was fully compatible with linen samples from around the 1st century.
I'm sorry, say the actual dates you said. Why are you trying to take it away again now? Because you know how it's going to hurt when you gave a date range of CE 54 to what?
74.
54 to 74. So your not actual, real, verifiable, and accepted study that you religious people love to glob onto, you couldn't even get it to fall into the range of Jesus's crucifixion. Do I have this correct?
I can't say that for sure.
Oh, you think that maybe Jesus was actually killed in 54 CE?
I don't have the exact.
Well, you gave exact numbers and then you tried to change it to 1st century when you realized, fuck, 30 doesn't fall between 50 and 80.
I mean, I think it's close enough.
No, that's not how science works. Now, give me the name again of the study that you claim showed it was from 54 to what?
It's on MDPI. It was called X-ray dating of Turin Shroud's linen sample. Should just be open. You'll be able to see it. I don't think you need to be subscribed or anything.
X-ray dating of Turin Shroud on what?
Linen sample. It would be on MDPI is the website.
MBTI?
MDPI. M as in
Say
Mary, D
words.
as in dog.
Okay. MD. What's the next two?
P is in pi.
Okay, what's the
I.
last one? I. Okay.
I is in Ian. Like, I don't. Sorry if you can't understand me that well on the phone.
And what does MDPI stand for? Are you looking it up? Is that why you're not...
Multidisciplinary Digital Publishing Institute. Publisher of open access scientific
So
journals.
there's two Ds.
390 peer-reviewed.
So it's MDDPI.
I think they put multidisciplinary as one word.
Hmm.
It's based in Switzerland.
Did it survive peer review? I'll give you a hint.
Like, it was
what is peer review?
Was the article reviewed by peers?
No. That is a very dumb answer to the question. That is basically just restating the phrase. What does it mean to have survived peer review? Yeah, I can hear you Googling, so I'll just tell you. It means that experts reviewed the methodology. The experts reviewed the methodology by which you did your experiment and came to your conclusions, and they agree that nothing is wrong with that methodology. That essentially, as long as you're telling the truth all the way along the way, that this experiment should have sufficiently provided the data necessary to make that conclusion. In some words, I'm sure there will be scientists who have a problem with it. It doesn't actually mean repeating the experiment. It doesn't mean verification at a higher level. It actually isn't necessarily the highest form of verification, but we consider it the baseline of what is necessary. And the problem is that your X-ray dating thing has been methodologically criticized a lot by the experts as a very weak method of trying to date and extremely inferior to the 1988 radiocarbon dating. But then you've created the conspiracy that that was a patch that was sewed on. So anyway, your material evidence is of the Shroud of Turin, which right now you do not have sufficient reason for me to accept, considering the scientific community consensus on it is that it is still, including, by the way, amongst Vatican, who would be very motivated to prove that is true, including against Vatican scientists, the consensus is in fact that you should not accept this as evidence.
All right.
Not to mention that the method of dating they used is considered an exploratory and unvalidated form of dating. Did you want to try again?
No, I think I concede to you there. I think you're allowed to believe what you want to believe.
Oh, you'll concede to me, but I can believe what I want to believe. Thank you. Let me now define for you what I want to believe, the truth. The reason why you're conceding to me is because you didn't have it.
Didn't have the truth?
Correct.
You chose not to see it.
Nope. I looked into the claim that you just made and found that it didn't survive peer review because it was using a extremely inferior method of dating that is currently considered exploratory.
You're taking other people's opinion. You're just taking someone's opinion.
Liam, scientific consensus for a lot of things, because I can't literally become a science expert on everything, is the way that you're going to go with the things for which you can't become an expert over. As soon as the nice thing about science, having participated in it in many ways, is if it is wrong, it will be scientists who figure it out. So once again, considering the consensus exists amongst not just secular scientists, but scientists who would be motivated to prove that it is true because it would be very good for their lot in life, it actually is very reasonable to decide to accept that that is more likely to be true than Liam, who didn't know the first thing about the proof he was claiming is correct.
So you're going to take the expert's opinion.
I'm going to be more compelled by the expert
yourself.
I'm going to be much more compelled by the expert's consensus than I am going to be by Liam.
So I think that maybe what we're running into is like a fundamental lack of understanding of what it truly means to be skeptical. Because I can look at, okay, here's a study, and I'm going to look at the study, and I can scroll. Hold on, I can scroll.
Oh, I have to interrupt. Man's not talking.
We're interrupting the femme. It's cute. I get it. So we can look, and I can see, okay, here are the 5 people who contributed to this study. And then I can look at their LinkedIn, and I can see, where did they go to school? How long have they been studying this? Who funded the study? And evaluate all of those things and be able to go, okay, it seems like the person who spent 20 years researching this, who did their PhD on this, who went to school for 10 years, college for 10 years to get really good at learning this thing, I can evaluate whether that person is likely to be an expert, is what we're shorthand for a person who's done a lot of work to understand the thing. So I'm not sitting there like, oh, I Googled and I found a study that agrees with me. And in fact, I will often Google the opposite opinion to see if there are opposing studies, and I can evaluate those and go, who funded this and how many other experts in the field agree with its findings. And so all of that information is publicly available. And that's why we want public funding. That's why we want the government to fund things, so we don't end up with a bunch of private interests that could sway the research one way or another. And like, you need to take a statistics class, because even the way that the numbers are presented can give one impression or the other. And little things like, a 3% increase, like that could be a huge increase, or it could be a very small increase if the original chance of that happening was already pretty low. So like, this is the thing about being a skeptic, is you have to actually have the tools to evaluate whether information is likely to be coming from a biased source, whether it's likely to be based on reliable methods or not. And like, I just don't think that's a skill that you have.
So Liam, how do you decide who to trust on the basis of whether or not the Shroud of Turin is real?
How do I decide?
Yeah, I go with expert
the image can't
consensus.
Be reproduced.
No, that wasn't the question.
Image can't
That's
be
your
reproduced.
excuse me, Liam. That wasn't the question. Can't and will and haven't been are not the same thing. But Liam, that isn't the question. The question was, how do you decide who, not what conspiracy do you find compelling about it? How do you decide who to trust on the authenticity of the Shroud of Turin? Mine is, I go with the scientific consensus, having participated in science. I know the methods by which it works. I know the methods by which it corrects itself, and have some pretty good reasons to accept certain authorities as more likely to be correct than any other authority. If tomorrow, Liam, if tomorrow they were to prove that it was authentic for its date, I would accept the authenticity of the age of it and recognize that that is all that it will have proven thus far. Because that is how skepticism actually works. You don't then go, and therefore any other claim made about this thing is automatically true. Just because we verified that the Empire State Building actually does exist doesn't mean the rest of the claims in Spider-Man are true. That's how skepticism actually works, Liam. So now why don't you explain to me how you decide what sources are reliable?
What sources are reliable?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we have a overall opinion of this Shroud of Turin not being able to be reproduced, there's no pigments, no paints, no dyes.
So Liam,
no
that wasn't the question.
Methods that could explain
you are now
its form.
You are sticking to Liam. You are now sticking to the Shroud of Turin, and I have asked you a broad question. Has nothing to do with the Shroud of Turin. The evidence that you are continuing to claim is still just conjecture. You are claiming that it is impossible to reproduce, as opposed to we just haven't sufficiently reproduced the whole thing, as though that is some great scientific undertaking.
I guess it's another guy
and
the
something
gas,
that
like
science is spending all that much time on. So now, Liam, back to the actual question, how do you decide what sources to trust on a claim? Has nothing to do with the Shroud of Turin. Broadly, as I answered for you, broadly.
What sources to trust?
Can I tell you what my theory is, Liam?
What?
I think that you trust the sources which confirm that which you've already accepted as true.
And I think you would do the same thing. Do you claim that you would?
Right, Liam. It would be very, very embarrassing for you if there is a public record of how much my opinions have changed on the basis of new information and better arguments. It would be very embarrassing for you if I, for example, started my life as an extremely dedicated, conservative, if not fascist, Mormon, and have grown into be an atheist, secular humanist socialist. It would be very embarrassing. Oh, don't worry, Liam. I stopped my way on Christianity on my way out of theism and found it equally ridiculous to Mormonism. So your notwithstanding, Liam, I assure you I pity you for your maintained ignorance more than you pity my previous.
Hey, you should have stopped at the Catholic Church.
Oh, no, the Catholic Church is too obviously false. Christianity is too obviously false. The Bible is too obviously it's not just I don't believe in the Bible. It is sufficiently proven to be untrue.
That's how you want your life to go. Have fun with it, man.
Yes, I thank you. I thank you very much. I do want my life to go living in truth, not falling for superstitions, not living on the basis of it feels correct. I don't want to live like you, Liam, because right now you live the same way Muslims live, Hindus live, Buddhists live, theological Buddhists, not philosophical Buddhists, Mormons live. You guys, you think you're superior to Mormons, and yet you believe in your religion for the same reason they do. You think God has told you it's true, and therefore anything which confirms it, you accept it as a fact, and anything which doesn't, you dismiss as like, well, you know,
I think
no big deal.
I think it's evidence in any of those cultures that they reproduce and they have families and they don't destroy themselves like the secular culture is today.
Oh, okay.
And I think that on an argument on
so
itself
Muslims are going to heaven?
For me to want to join any religion.
So Muslims are going to heaven?
Ones that have infinite ignorance, maybe.
The ones that have infinite ignorance. The Catholic is here trying to say that Muslims are superior to secular culture because at least they have families, while acknowledging that he lives in a religion that believes they're all going to hell. So not only is your religion untrue, your God's a fucking dick. Like, your God is the biggest asshole that I'm glad doesn't exist. And he's kind of a beta male cuck.
Yeah, he only sent himself down to be crucified by you.
No, he didn't, though. That's the thing,
jerk.
Liam. Except Liam that he didn't. Except Liam that he didn't. Yeah, by the way, Liam, you're owned there. Indeed, what a jerk. The man who created the rules apparently made the rules that he must come down after creating all these people to be terribly evil, and then they behaved the way he designed them to be, so he must have them commit an act of human sacrifice. When we look at any other culture doing that, we consider that a savage practice. It is the means by which the over-exaggeration of how much it is used is the means by which people with beliefs similar to yours justify massacring the natives who lived in America. So when we look at but anyway, that God went, I make the rules. I could just forgive everybody. I could design people with better instincts, but I didn't do that. So now I'm going to go down and make them commit human sacrifice. And I'm going to not leave sufficient evidence that I actually exist. So I will now torture people for eternity if they do not find their way to faithfully believe in me, even though competing claims of the reality of my existence will have an equal amount of evidence for them. I'm not surprised, Liam, that you're going to now try to be pedantic about the use of the word torture. You are quite correct. Your God, if he existed, luckily he definitively does not, but if he existed, he is a piece of shit.
I think the evidence for his existence is in everyday things. If you can't see that,
so do Muslims, so do Hindus, so do animists, the people that you stole your religious beliefs from and have developed from. So do polytheists, the other people you've stole your religion from, the continued tradition of yours. Everybody believes that about their God. Just look at the trees, man. And when your evidence is, I don't actually have to show you a causal link.
Seems like you're never going to get rid of this God that you don't like,
that
man.
Is so terribly
You're never
shallow.
Going to get rid of it.
Get rid of what? What am I never going to get rid of, Liam?
You just said all these other religions, all this other stuff that has gone on in history.
I don't know, man.
You're never going to get rid of it. You're never going to get rid of it.
Once
we're
again,
the people who have
Liam,
children,
once again,
and you're not.
Liam,
you sterilize yourself.
Liam,
you sterilize yourself, man. Stop.
Liam, once again, trying to talk over me like that's ever going to work. Liam, once again, making definitive statements that he cannot actually prove. We won't? Liam, do you have any kids?
We have a history, a long,
do you have any kids?
long history.
Hey, Liam, do you have any kids?
I have one on the way.
You going to have more?
Of course.
I'm going to turn them all into atheists.
Yeah?
Yep.
I have fun when I give them my metaphysical arguments. Have fun with that.
Liam, your metaphysical arguments are what I argue with. Yeah, so Liam, your metaphysical arguments is what I argue with every day, and it's why secularism's on the rise. You have a good day, Liam. This has become boring.
True.
All right, we're going to talk to Brandon in Tennessee. I guess we're going full religious today. People, remember, if you are MAGA, if you are against trans rights, queer rights, abortion rights, if you think Donald Trump is a good president, you need only call that phone number, 336-543-2101. That is 336-543-2101, and we will take your call and debate on those things. But in the meantime, we have Brandon from Tennessee who is calling in. Brandon, how old are you?
I'm 47.
47. And Brandon, we have a live chat with about 1,200 people in it. Would you prefer they refer to you as a he, she, or they when they talk about you in chat?
A man.
Yeah, but the question was he, she, or they, and you've somehow chosen a different answer. You can choose a different pronoun than those three.
You can say he.
Thanks so much.
That don't bother me.
Perfect. And now that you've answered it, this very non-dangerous question, we can simply move on, and I love it. All right, Brandon, calling in from Tennessee. Brandon, are you only doing religion today, or can we do some MAGA?
You can do anything you want to talk about.
Are you MAGA?
Any topic you come to your mind. I voted for Trump, but I wouldn't call myself no MAGA though.
Okay.
I wouldn't go that far. For me, it's whoever running president that I would rather pick them over there. So I don't really have no home in the political party.
That's how we all have to vote. Well, we'll start with the topic you wanted to call in on. And what is that?
You said the Bible was fake. I was watching you.
The Bible is untrue. Correct.
Yeah. What made you come to that conclusion?
Oh, there's a ton of things. First of all, magic has never been demonstrated to be possible. And in as much as we can test anything, it seems to be impossible. Yes, so the Bible contains a lot of magical claims, things like the resurrection of Jesus, the loaves and the fishes, turning water to wine. But then even previous to that, there are then other more large claims that aren't just one guy that we can say like live in obscurity, where you go like, okay, I can't prove Jesus himself wasn't in the desert and he couldn't, that the magic didn't happen. There's just no reason to believe it did. But that's one guy. How do I examine that? There are much larger claims like Noah's flood. Archaeological evidence definitively shows that Noah's flood is not just unlikely to have happened. It couldn't have happened. It's impossible. All human beings descending from two individuals living somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago, if we give you 50,000 years, it's still impossible. And for them to be the first two Homo sapiens with no parents prior to them, also impossible. The story of the Exodus is filled with both historical and archaeological reasons to believe that the story of the Exodus is completely made up and likely promoted as sort of an ethnic discrimination thing. So you're sitting there laughing. I assume that you will now have, since you are laughing and what I'm describing to you is laughable, you will have such definitive and obvious proof that what I just said was incorrect, that we'll all be able to laugh together at how dumb what I said was.
No, I'm laughing because it's comical to me that the stuff that
let's find out why it's funny. Let's find out why it's funny, because it could only be comical if you have such simple, obvious, and easy rebuttals of them. It will definitely be that comical.
Everything is for me speaking, is all about your life experience. Even the things that what you said, it can't be defined by magic. If there is a thing they call God, you can't call it magic. When God acts, it got to be the power of God.
Sure, magic of God is fine. Power, magic, whichever one you like.
Magic have some magic.
Yeah, the reason why I use magic
it comes
is
from
because
somewhere
my car has
some other person.
My car has power. I have power. Lots of natural things have power. The reason why I use the word magic is all of the quote unquote power of God that you described to me will be things that do not exist in the natural world.
The way you understand it, but
I think it's magic to the way you understand it.
Is God.
What's magic? What is magic? Define it.
Magic for me is demonic.
What is the definition
of magic?
That's
why I laugh, because I look at magic being demonic. Meaning
magic wasn't when you laughed. What is the definition of magic?
Power Satan gives to people who pray to him. They call that magic.
The power that Satan gives to the people who pray to him. And is Satan is he liberal with that distribution? If I pray to Satan right now for a flame to appear in front of my hand, will he grant it?
I don't know. I ain't never prayed to Satan, so I can't advise you on that.
Oh, you can't tell me. So
all right, well, no, that would make me a Satanist. You have to ask a Satanist that question. I'm not a Satanist.
Is Satan powerful?
Or somebody who deals in magic.
Is Satan powerful?
Yeah.
Do you believe Satan is pretending to be Allah and tricking Muslims into believing Islam? Do you think that's where they're having their spiritual experiences, because they're accidentally interacting with Satan?
I don't think Satan directly tricking them, but they are being tricked by Satan.
Well, wait, but when Satan,
because it was Muhammad idea to make a religion.
Okay, when Muslims pray to Allah and they feel that a spiritual experience comes to them and tells them that Islam is true, is that coming from God or Satan?
It could be. It's definitely not coming from God.
Great. So you are acknowledging, though, that Satan has the power to hang on. Hang on, bud.
You asked me a question, though.
Yes, Brandon, and I don't need the extra answer. I got as much as I needed. So you are acknowledging, Brandon, that Satan can pretend to be God to try and lead people away from God.
No.
You just acknowledged that. Now, okay, then when were you lying? Then or now?
I did acknowledge that.
Yes, you did.
I asked you. You asked me a question, but that question don't answer that.
Brandon, I asked you, when Muslims pray to Allah, which is their word for God, just means God, and they have a spiritual experience. Hang on. When they have a spiritual experience that confirms to them, tells them, they think it is the word of God, the whisper of God telling them that Islam is true. I asked you, is that God or Satan telling them that? And you said it could be either.
No, you didn't ask that, because you add details into that you didn't ask it first. Because
that is not true.
You said telling them that. When I visualize them praying, I visualize them hearing nothing. But if they was hearing something, it's definitely not God. So
I think the reason, Brandon, that you're afraid to become a secularist is that you are afraid you would have to remain consistent when giving your answers, because you have totally just flip-flopped.
No, I did not. You ask questions, then you go back and change the question. If you want a direct question, ask a direct question. Don't change it.
Why did you laugh? Are you aware that you changed the question? What was laughable about the claims I had about the Bible being untrue? What was laughable
because you using the word magic.
No. You laughed at
a child of God.
No. You laughed when I was describing specifically that Noah's flood was impossible, and that the Exodus was untrue, and that Adam and Eve are untrue. It was past the magic thing.
I don't know what you're talking about. But everybody's entitled to their own beliefs. When you try to
nobody's arguing that you're not entitled to your own belief. It doesn't mean that beliefs are equal.
But you said the Bible was
untrue.
Not true. What do you mean by that?
Brandon, I already gave you multiple examples of what I meant by that. Why are you asking me to repeat myself? Did you not listen the first time?
No, you went on talking about Islam, and I asked you a direct question about the word
and what
God.
did we talk about before that?
You said the only thing that you said that was referring to the Bible, you said the worldwide flood. That's your only answer?
Incorrect. No. So Brandon, I'm going to ask you if we're going to continue to start listening to my answers. I said, one, the magical claims for Jesus Christ, or angelic, whatever word you want to use that makes you feel better, Brandon, you use. None of those things are demonstrated to be possible, and in as much as we can examine things in the material world, they're actually impossible. But beyond that, since I can't go and find the guy, we can investigate the larger claims. This would include the worldwide Noah's flood. This would include the exodus of the Jews from Egypt. This would include the idea that all people are related to two individuals who lived 6,000 to 10,000 years ago, and that no Homo sapiens existed prior to them. Those were the examples that I gave you just to start. There are certainly more, but we can prove that those stories are definitively untrue.
Well, if that's your definition. Now, when they found the oldest human being, what was that? What nationality was the human being that they found?
Or are you asking Homo sapien? Because we have humans going back millions of years. Because our ancestors like Homo erectus, our ancestors like Homo erectus and Homo habilis existed millions of years ago. The oldest Homo sapien, the youngest argument among scientists would be around 150,000 years old. There are some that go back and believe that when classifying these species, certain fossils as old as, I think, 400,000 years old, certainly 250,000 years old, that those should be classified as Homo sapien. We do have ancestors of all of them that are older, but generally we classify them as a separate species, most recently Homo erectus.
Yeah. When they find the oldest human being in Africa,
200,000 years, Homo sapiens. I already asked you to specify, and you're still using
cradle of life. If what you were saying that you have a problem with, they should have found different species, different races. Also,
you were actually correct. You were actually correct the first time. Species. You were actually correct the first time. Species.
All races came from one race. And that's correct. Black man.
And race for the most part is a social construct. It isn't a real special thing. You wouldn't say people of different races are different species. You wouldn't even say that they are different families or genuses. We are all Homo sapiens.
The questions that you asking is the same questions the former atheist Lee Strobel had, and he answered them. And he's no longer atheist.
I'm sorry, Lee Strobel is an absolute fraud, and all of his claims are entirely
You prove that he's a fraud. But you prove that he's a fraud.
Which claim of his would you like me to rebut? I know his claims about historical Jesus. I know his claims about the reliability of the New Testament. I know his claims about, there are too many. So you decide which one that you are the most familiar with that you can argue back.
I'm hearing you talk, but I didn't hear no rebuttal of his claims.
Brandon, I think we're gonna have to move on because I have
told you his claims
all right, Brandon, I've muted you because you are not engaging honestly. I just said you choose which one of his claims that you are the most familiar with to defend, and I will happily share with you the secular rebuttal of Lee Strobel's positions and his defenses of the Bible. They aren't hard. If Lee was here, I would fear no Lee. So I will unmute you, Brandon. If you believe that we can do that activity, we can. Otherwise, we are going to move on. Brandon, are we going to do that activity or are we moving on?
I'm still here.
Are we doing that
for
activity
some
or
reason
moving on?
we can do it. I'm still here. For some
Okay,
reason,
so
it had a
Brandon,
loud tone.
give me the Lee Strobel claim that you feel the most ready to defend, and I will give you the rebuttal.
Okay, he got a lot of archaeological finds. Are you aware of those?
Which archaeological find would you like to present?
He got a archaeological find where they found the inscriptions of talking about Noah's flood inside the what you call it with the pyramids. I guess it would be the pyramids.
You believe that Lee Strobel has found archaeological evidence inside pyramids that describe Noah's flood?
Yes. They have it inscribed on the wall. Talk about it. He talked about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Have you ever heard of that?
I know what the Dead Sea Scrolls are. None of what you're describing, even if you were correct, which you definitely are not, I have to look up. I've never heard anyone claim that anyone says Noah's flood is on the pyramid walls. I think you might have made it up, but I'm going to look into it.
But I do think that lots of cultures across the planet have flood myths. That's not abnormal. But also lots of cultures across the world have dragons in their mythology. So the fact that we don't have archaeological evidence ultimately is what we would point to for like definitive proof of whether the thing happened. Just because there are stories being told. And of course, it would make perfect sense, to be completely honest, if there were flood myths in Egypt, because guess what? It floods there like every year. And it's like a major part of old religions. You can look at like what kind of gods do they appoint? And a lot of it has to do with like the agriculture. So yeah, there's flood myths everywhere, but there's no proof of a global flood.
Right. And by the way, I've already looked. Where do you find that Lee Strobel believes that Noah's flood? Because I'm trying to find anything that Lee Strobel says Noah's flood was written about in by that Egyptologist or in the Egyptian pyramids. Not even that the Egyptologists agree. I cannot find a single thing where Lee Strobel talks about the Egyptians describing Noah's flood.
Yeah, and they not only did they describe the flood, they described how the
you are not answering my question.
Was defeated.
You are not answering my question because I cannot find that Lee Strobel ever claimed Noah's flood was written on the pyramid walls. I have now hit 2 AIs and 2 search engines trying to find the words Noah's flood, pyramid, Lee Strobel.
AI gonna answer this.
I checked other places. By the way, one of the AIs I use because you people tend to like it more is Grok.
I don't deal with AI at all.
Great. Well, AI is very good at finding sources, and if anywhere on the internet, for you people, I meant Christian, by the way. Anywhere on the internet,
I know what you mean, but
Christian, cool. Yeah, I realized what it sounded like after I am trying to find anywhere on the internet that says shows Lee Strobel claimed what you just said.
Yeah, I listen to him talk. I listen to him talk.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm interested.
Well, he never.
I mean, just because.
Well, then, like the witnesses of Jesus Christ, Lee Strobel never wrote it down.
That don't mean you can't have a conversation.
Then, if truly the only place you heard it was live out of Lee Strobel's mouth, then unfortunately, like the witnesses of Jesus Christ's crucifixion, he never wrote it down. Because there is no evidence that Lee Strobel. Brandon, I think you're throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. I think we just want to move on here because literally,
no, I don't.
I would be happy to engage with the claim.
I really thought Brandon, when you said,
Brandon, there's no evidence of what you said.
Hold on, I can't speak. 3 seconds.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Every time I speak, you just like.
Nope, never mind. Don't go ahead because I just said go ahead and you still want to talk about not speaking. I'm moving on, Brandon. There is no evidence. I wasn't even asking for evidence that Egyptians wrote about a flood on the wall. I'd have been fine with that. The claim was that Lee Strobel made that claim. I am familiar enough with Lee Strobel's work to have already suspected he didn't. So then I started looking for it, and he hasn't. So you're calling in with Lee Strobel has a good defense of the Bible. That's what you told the call screener. You don't know what his claims are. Brandon, please reach out to Lee and let him know he can call. Jesus Christ. Stacy in Texas. Stacy, you are on the line with Jimmy and Luxander. How are you, Stacy? Stacy, what happened to Tony?
Hey, great. Tony, no. Well, Tony's my alternate ego. So it depends on what day it is.
You just couldn't remember which person you were calling in as. And were you going to drop slurs this time or resort to insults or?
No, Jimmy. No, Jimmy. Okay. Jimmy, I was just planning on, Stacy's a much gentler, kinder person and more patient.
So, hey, Stacy, would you like our audience to refer to you as a he, him, or they when discussing you in the live chat?
Him or
and he. Yeah, him and he for Stacy, that's fine. Stacy's pronouns are he, him. Stacy's calling from Texas. Now, Stacy, were you not the person who left that voicemail?
I don't know. I haven't left any voicemails.
You haven't?
I've called your show before.
Let me double check this. I could be wrong.
And if it was, it must have been Tony because I don't remember that.
So now, wait. So Tony, are you claiming to me that you have yeah, by the way, it was you. Tony, you're claiming to me is that you have dissociative identity disorder and that the expression of that dissociative identity disorder gives you amnesia when you are in an alter ego in a very literal way, not a sort of chosen way. And that is what, for example, in the past, not only tried to make a point over the fact that as though I keep secret that I live near Austin. I literally say that publicly all the time. But I believe you also tried to dox me in our comment section. Did you not?
I don't think so. Let me ask my question, and then you could go back to this, and I'm cool to answer any of your questions.
Hey, do you remember this?
Real quick, Jimmy, seriously. Dude, you're one of the dumbest shit bitches. Everything you report, you got your own station, CNN, MSNBC.
Would you like to apologize?
Well, I couldn't hear what Tony was saying. If you could play.
Sorry, Stacy, do you have DID? Do you have DID?
Yeah. Actually, I do.
Okay, then we're not having this conversation, and I'm banning you because you are calling in allegedly as an alter ego, which, by the way, I'll just say it. I know you're not supposed to on the internet. I don't believe you. I don't believe you have DID. I think you are making it up to get away with stuff. Stacy, but even if you are telling the truth, this means you get to call in and say whatever you want, and then there's no accountability. Tony's going to apologize later, or I have successfully argued with what? A person who can then just switch to another personality. Like, how do I look like the winner when somebody is claiming to be mentally ill, has tried to dox me on this channel, and now I'm engaging them in a debate with already that well so very, very poisoned? Tony, Stacy, and whatever other liar, alter ego personality, because I straight up don't believe you. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. And Tony Stacy is now banned. I hope I get canceled for it. I'll have to just be a woodworker. Fuck you in your fucking face. By the way, here's the other unpopular thing. At least 85% of the people who are DID influencers are also lying. But that's just the opinion of therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists. But, anyway, cancel them too. Parker in Utah. I don't know what the number is. I just know it's above 85%. Parker in Utah, you are on the line with Jimmy and Luxander. Parker in Utah, how are you?
Hello. Long-time fan, by the way. I've been fan of your channel, Jimmy, since we're known as Mr. Atheist. So
I will disabuse you of this notion. Of course. Awesome.
Anyway, I'm calling mostly because I disagree with your take on AI.
What's my take on AI?
I think you're way too pro-AI.
Interesting. What position on AI do you think I have that you have that I don't?
Well, I am extremely against AI, and it's used in pretty much all cases with very few exceptions, including using it for research and using it to make art.
So basically, you are against AI except for the ways in which you have to use it. For example, to continue to use YouTube.
Well, to be fair, the YouTube algorithm is also something I think is very destructive.
Right. And you are supporting it. You are participating in it. You are helping Gemini develop. You are actually an active participant in the development of. You very much can isolate from AI, or you can acknowledge that we live in a capitalist society. And right now, AI does suck. You've described me as pro AI, as though I like the AI future, as opposed to, like everything else, I will have to participate as a capitalist in a capitalist society to be able to have the possibility of influencing change in the future. And right now, the number one thing you can do in this society to have influence is to gather capital. And I am going to continue to do that to try and affect the midterm elections. However, I never keep it for myself in a way that anyone could describe as resource hoarding, like rich people do.
And that certainly is, makes you better than rich people, to be sure. I mean, if you can clarify your position, and if you're, as anti-AI as I am, I'll take the L and move on here. But
I don't. I wish we had never began developing LLMs. I wish we had never started working on AI. I wish that we had kept a society at a peak level of development and worked on AI only in as much as it could help medical advancement, helping people live life longer, only those things that could actually bring healing. I wish if AI had existed, it had never existed in a capitalist framework.
I also feel like the way that we talk about AI, it's like, okay, it's a shocking statement to me to hear someone say, I'm 100% against AI in all its forms. I think what you're saying is LLMs are bad and using people's art to amalgamate images is bad. But like the primary, like the majority of what AI functionally is stuff like screening for precancerous cells in breast cancer. So like, I feel like that's we need to be more proper. Like we need to be more consistent and precise about the way that we talk about this, because AI literally saves lives. LLMs cause people to have psychotic breaks. Like there's a big difference between these things. And so, yeah, like, of course, we're all against like massive data farms that harm the environment. Like we all kind of get it. But also every single time I do a Google search, I'm using more of those data centers because every single Google search has AI. So, if you're going to confront Jimmy or anyone about their use of AI in, like, for example, we use it for work, then it's like, do you still drive a car? Do you still use Google search? Like all of those things are also harming the environment. And it feels a little bit virtue signaling. Like you're just picking one thing to be mad at.
Your necessity for those things are the same necessity we have for our things. And especially right now, guess what? LLMs, for all the things they are terrible, quick fact checking, they are quite good at.
Literally better than a Google search.
Well,
what say you, Parker?
I draw the line. Huh?
What say you, Parker?
Oh, where I personally draw the line is specifically when AI Turing test. Are you familiar with what that means?
When AI what? You broke out.
Passes the Turing test.
Yeah, I know what the Turing test is. As far as why that would be your line, I don't know. But considering dead internet theory is pretty hard to rebut, I would say we're well past that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We're way past that. But like when AI passes the Turing test, that's basically the point where it becomes possible for it to convincingly mimic you. And that's where the harm really starts to pick up.
I don't know what's up with your signal, but we're losing so many words you say.
Let me try to go into a place that has more signal.
That would be good.
He's basically saying that AI is capable of convincing people that it's a real person, which, like, again, I think if you have basic critical thinking skills, it's obvious that LLMs are a say yes machine. That's basically what they are. That's why we have people who are like, I think I might be the Messiah. It's just like generating a probable sentence. And I don't know. I feel like it would be really hard to convince me that it has any kind of independent thoughts or feelings.
Yeah, at the moment, I don't know that our own language shit isn't essentially LLMs, just meet LLMs that we're not.
Especially if I'm doing a Let's Play, boy howdy, the words are just on autopilot.
There's a lot, yeah. This whole job is I'm somewhat LLM. What the fear of what you're describing, Parker, isn't even the technology itself, it's the massive application of the policy. Because already, I actually think one of the good things Elon Musk did this year, not a lot of them, but having it where now social media lets you see where the origin of the account. I believe he originated that. I could be wrong, but he at least popularized it. Now Threads does it and everything. And so while we're like worried about LLMs, it's because they can do massively what was already happening. Because before this, one guy from Thailand could also convince your uncle that he's a hot white girl. He's basically 50 different people, whoever the 50 people are that influence the several thousand people that he's trying to target. Some version of this was already happening on the human side of it, and now we can just make that more efficient. And of course, all those things are more terrible because we are doing these things in capitalist frameworks with insufficient democracies to account for them. Whereas if we actually had sufficient frameworks, we could be using these things to, again, cure disease, make sure that education gets better. I'm excited for, by the way, people who say it's not AI, it's LLMs, this is a dumb thing you keep saying. Stop saying it. As though LLMs wouldn't be a type of AI. Humans are, look, again, what we talked about with the previous caller. Your brain decides what word it's going to use before you're aware of it. Okay? You're an LLM. So to say that an LLM wouldn't be a kind of AI is dumb. Now, AI is also a lot of things, but LLMs clearly are AI. Yeah. You are thinking about AGI, which is a sort of different thing. It's just on a grander scale. Okay, coming back to this. The potential for right now, as they refine it, it is difficult. However, people who do have a good ability to utilize it themselves and can trust themselves with it, it's already been shown that as a tool of, what's it called? When you're supplementing tool, LLMs end up being quite good as a supplementary tool for therapy. And considering how many people don't have access to therapy, while it's very sad where we hear about the people who convinced their bot to be a role play and then they ended up killing themselves over it, there are also extremely positive things, but not in a capitalist framework, because we just had a company that did a bunch of round one funding. Luckily, I think they've gone out of business because they found out that it was hard, who were trying to invent AI therapy bots for a subscription service to make money off of. That's the problem. AI in and of itself is not automatically moral or immoral. It is the capitalism of it all that's fucking us all. I almost said a different word than fucking.
So there is a lot we agree on, but also I would still take contention with some of the things you said, like that, some of these applications would be good even without capitalism. Because, there are a few contentions I make that, AI, when used as a tool in some ways, creates a dependency on itself. It's gains in the short term, but you were trading that for losses in the long term.
Why would a non-capitalist
AI is doing for you?
Why would a non-capitalist AI be incentivized to promote dependency?
Well, it doesn't need to be incentivized. It's a useful tool, so you will tend to use it in ways that will...
every time it's useful, you should use it, but you said dependency, which is literally a hallmark of it being capitalist incentive. I'm going to use my chisel in my wood shop every time a chisel is called for. But to say... that then equals dependency. The dependency, the problem with AI is like the drug dependency that people have. And that would be the difference. In fact, if AI had a socialist framework, therefore we were trying to make it beneficial to people, we would recognize that gambling style addictions and behavioral addictions would be negative, and we would actually direct our AI to dissuade dependency. So I'm waiting for the reason that capitalism isn't the problem still.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. As far as everything that tech companies do right now, they're going AI. They're taking massive losses right now to try to make us dependent on those products because they're planning on making us pay for it. In fact, Photoshop, which has a little AI image production thing, if you crop the image, it'll generate to keep the aspect ratio.
Yeah.
And whatever. I use that
crop.
But now they're like, oh, now you need to purchase credits for each one of those. So like, cool. Yeah. They're sinking a lot of money into it now for the purpose of making a bunch of money off of it after making it to where all of our workflows are dependent on it. So again, it seems like capitalism is the problem.
Yeah. In fairness, adding the content to AI to the content aware, before content aware, I've been a Photoshopper for, it was my job before YouTube. So I'm like over a decade into this thing. Before content aware had a learning algorithm that it used, but it only used the pixels in your area to generate what it would guess would be there. So you'd often have duplicated trash cans and stuff like that, where there is more of a randomness. So now having that content aware, be able to say like, it's not going to just be another trash can. You need something unique here, but that fits in the space, is a superior tool. But as Lux pointed out, that tool is being delivered to us at the cost of mere credits. It is, which I think is more to now limit how much you use the tool in a month than it is to encourage people to buy more at the moment, but it eventually gets there.
Sure.
So, see, what I was getting at is that what makes AI different from like a chisel is that the way that these like AIs are trained is that they're trained to essentially mimic humans for things like writing and research, and so they're only able to be as good as like a skilled human.
That's only a problem because artists need their art to not be stolen so that they can continue to live off of their art. If we lived in a socialist egalitarian society, I do not care if an AI can replicate your art at all because you're not living off of your art in the first place.
Like the whole idea of intellectual property is predicated on the idea that you need to be able to make money off of it.
Literally.
Question for you, Jimmy. Imagine socialist society, perfect utopia, etc. But then on, let's say, the subreddit r/Blender. You know about Blender, the 3D modeling software?
Yes, we're familiar.
A photograph, right? And they say, look at this really cool 3D render that I made using Blender, totally. And everyone thinks that it's really cool, but then someone finds out that it was actually a photograph, and they, like, I guess the question is, would it be justified for them to get mad? For people on that Reddit to get mad?
If people are being dishonest, of course people are going to be annoyed if you're misrepresenting yourself, wher it's AI or not. You could have stolen the image from someone who did make it for real.
Mad about lying, and therefore AI is bad. It's interesting in trying to save this. You've gotten so far from the concept. Okay, go ahead. Yes, they are justified to be mad, not in a way that they deserve compensation for, but mad about being lied to.
Yeah, this is not about like the capital. I'm
no justice will need to be served
on capitalism.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, but still, like the imagine, for instance, the Blender subreddit allowed AI or allowed photographs to be posted there whenever they wanted, and never banned it. I guess what would happen to that subreddit? Would people like still be invested in the stuff posted there?
I don't know, or care. No matter which the answer is, would not change my position at all. The importance of becoming a socialist society or AI is not dependent on whether r/Blender has a robust audience.
What I'm getting at is that AI is essentially, like when it's making art, it's designed to essentially lie about where the art is coming from as well as possible. It pretends to be like a photo or a drawing or something else and mimics something that already
exists. And that is
exists.
Definitely a problem in a capitalist society.
We could easily solve this problem by just saying like there must be a watermark. Like we could make it to where like the program itself always exports with a watermark, and there's like data, there's metadata. We can see whether images have been edited. We can see whether videos have been edited. Like people are capable of getting into the code and looking at it. Like there's evidence. And so, yeah, like I don't see why this would be any different than like creating a Photoshop and misrepresenting it as something that is real. Or like when people used to sew together parts of animals to pretend like they had invented a new animal,
Bro, I don't care if we all move to the Oasis. As long as the capitalist side of it doesn't. The worst part of Ready Player One was the capitalism. It's weird because a lot of people think like going and living in, it's wrong to go live in a virtual universe because the movie tried to make that. The movie, which was trying to make money, tried to make that the bigger point. The capitalism's the problem with Ready Player One. That's the problem. So I don't care about if you have delivered equality, security. I do not care whether or not AI is making, emotionally competitive art to people. I actually think it will bring value to people who can say, I have good reason to believe this was authentically human, to witness humans doing authentic art. In a weird way, I've recently thought I might want to take the piano back up again, because as music has become irrelevant, like being a good musician is just not as important as it used to be, because the best or not the best, the most consumed music now is made on a laptop without touching an instrument in a lot of cases. There's something actually that appeals more to me about the piano. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but I suspect things like that would happen. But again, socialist utopia was the thing you started. I'm sorry that I just don't care about what happens with AI arts theft, period.
Well, I mean, what I'm arguing is that AI arts, like, the consequence of the art theft would be entirely social, like not something that requires government intervention per se, but something that makes it like harder to engage with art. Like everyone suspects that everything is AI, so no one can really, like, I guess, convince people that there isn't.
Did you not already have this problem before with high quality photoshops? Because I have. There's been times where I've been like, oh shit, that thing I thought was real was fake.
Pervasive.
So it's like, this is not a new phenomenon.
Yeah, so you're saying that
it wasn't nearly as
scale
pervasive, and it took skill to like create something with Photoshop, but now it's completely automated.
Parker, so you're saying
skillful that makes it better.
You're saying scale is the problem, which we've already established. Scale is dangerous in capitalist societies because it's incentivized. Why is stealing work from artists incentivized in a socialist society? For what reason would it be?
And you could get like a social favor, like, oh, look at this cool thing I made, and people are praising
so
me
in
for
other
it.
words, the scale will still be limited by the number of humans that are actually participating, not the robots.
To an extent, that is true. Like, what you did mention, like, AI would be used in good ways in a socialist society, and I do think that if we did live in a perfect socialist society, most of the ways in which AI is used now would just be straight up banned.
Hey, Parker, is AI here?
Yes.
Can a small business compete with large businesses without using it?
I would argue that in the long term, yes, because large businesses are shooting themselves in the foot by using it.
Parker, then I didn't know. I didn't know you were naive. Oh, I agree. It's going to eventually destroy them, but right now I got to eat today. Okay. So
like if you think about an individual, like, Jimmy and I are both like business owners. We have to, use our time wisely. We cannot necessarily afford to hire out, I could hire someone to transcribe all my videos, but Adobe Premiere Pro has an AI function that transcribes my video for me and enables me to dramatically increase my workflow by not having to sit there and manually scrub through for every single pause. Like, that's what
I'd actually like to submit I don't think the line could afford to do that for every video. So I suspect that you actually couldn't.
No, exactly.
I could hire someone, and I don't think you can
to do that. That's an AI I'm fine with.
I think I was trying to say, like, I could not afford to hire someone to do that for me. So, yeah.
Arguably, I don't think then actually, Parker, that you realize how bad AI or translators were before AI, because they were being worked on by a lot of people. And the AI has developed, arguably, translation would be specifically one of the ones that requires a Turing test pass, because it needs to understand contextually. I don't want to know just how to say, hey, where do I go to find the library? I want to know how the people I am talking to would say that to each other, so that I am not also sticking out like a sore thumb. I want to talk to people not just in their language, but also their dialect. Arguably, good translation absolutely requires a Turing test.
And it is it's like highly exploitative. Like, translators are already not paid very much before AI became a thing.
I'm fine with that kind of AI, because, like, being context aware, like, that is a very complicated algorithm, but it still can be reduced to an algorithm. It's still just a mechanistic process. It doesn't require any personality or like pretending to be human.
Parker, these aren't different things. Being a context aware, capable translation bot is not excessively different from what you are describing. What you are saying that
it is the way
you
that
can tell an
like,
AI to pretend to be somebody is a different concept from why these tools are functional.
There's not a difference in how you engage with a translation based on like whether you think it was made by a human or a bot. A translation, like the way we think of it, essentially, is just as a, well, changing the text from one form to another, from one language to the next. Or
are you mad that ChatGPT is going to let people sext this year? Is that what this comes down to, Parker? Well, you're not conservative. You shouldn't care about that. Do you know that's coming?
I'll admit I didn't fully understand what you said.
Oh yeah, this year you're going to be able to sext with ChatGPT. Sam Altman announced that last year. That's coming soon.
Yeah, that seems pretty dystopian.
Yeah, I don't care. Fuck robots if they want. I think when you make sex extremely accessible in a way that doesn't have to exploit other humans, we'll live in a world where sexual reproduction only happens voluntarily. There are things we're going to have to do along the way to try and encourage people to not further objectify others or reduce the value of other humans as they do it. But I actually think if we could make sex so not the important part of sex, that actually the potential for living in the best version of the world ever is ahead. It's going to be ruined by the capitalism, not by the accessibility.
Jimmy, question: are you okay with people like having no friends, but like have talking to an AI instead and making that their only friend? Do you think like that's healthy for them?
Parker, I don't know, because right now a lot of people report they have no friends, so I don't know if practicing with a robot will actually help them improve. There is a potential, Parker, you could argue to me, I don't have the data.
No, not practicing with a robot, but like replacing their friends with a robot. Like, I don't need friends because I got this robot to talk to.
We don't know.
We don't have the data. That might be fine.
We do know that AI psychosis is a thing, and so we should be vigilant about that. But like, if we're, okay, here's this
humans
the system.
Are social creatures. So
we're looking at like a comparison though. Like right now, there's a loneliness epidemic for everyone. We are very isolated. We're living highly individualized lives. And like, I guess the ideal situation is we have friends, we speak to people on a regular basis. And, there's also this kind of taking that group and dividing it into two, where it's like, are most of your friends online? Are you getting enough socializing from that? Like, and then there's the having friends away from the computer who you see in your real life and you work toward community goals with. And then like
those are both real
AI
people,
could be filling a gap where like people are suffering majorly because they're alone and they don't have friends. And so I don't actually know yet whether that is a social good that they could that they could practice social skills with an AI and like be satisfied like that. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
Parker, this is YouTube. You just called a YouTube show to raise the red flag about what if people think that they are in friendships that aren't real.
I mean, to be fair, that is, the parasociality is bad.
Thank you for saying the word before I had to. I'm glad you picked up on what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
Arguably, expanding the technology, there is lots of potential. For one, what is the problem with the loneliness epidemic is that you feel lonely, you feel unsupported. So I don't know that it is wrong to give a person support in the form of a robot, even if they don't expand into humans, if that person ends up having an otherwise healthy life. But there are ways to direct it to try and encourage more sociability. And again, we don't have the data to say definitively one way or another. My problem, as I've already said, and by people who are somebody in the chat going, I can't believe Jimmy's defending generative AI. It's so hard. I have to put in enough work defending what my actual position is to have people in the chat not understand it and lie about the position. AI, generative AI, any type of AI is not itself inherently good or bad. The capitalism is the bad part. AI, including generative, could be excellent in a non-capitalist society. But in a capitalist society, like everything else all of us right now are doing, to be on this YouTube channel together, whether you are in the audience or you are us, somebody else somewhere is somehow being exploited for us to be connected. Period. Capitalism is bad. It is also almost out of usefulness that even the capitalists can defend. It is time to move on from it. And by moving on from it, we can redirect where AI's focus is to things that are healthy for humanity, because no one is arguing that right now the way we are developing AI isn't exploitive and isn't harmful. It definitely is. Just like everything else I did today, because I live in a capitalist society, and arguably scales to worse, and that's a problem too. But the problem, my actual point is, capitalism is the bad part of AI.
And on that much, we do agree. Well, at least that capitalism is making AI worse. But I do still think that a lot of problems of AI that won't be solved by taking away capitalism.
Well, you haven't described one that doesn't obviously go away without capitalism. The examples you gave so far, and Parker, I can appreciate you're not calling in trying to be a dick, but the examples you've given so far very obviously will go away with capitalism, because all of your things are scale problems, and scalability is
only
incentivized.
Because AI itself would probably go away with capitalism. At least
no, it wouldn't.
AI
it absolutely would not.
That's like saying computers would go away if there's no capitalism.
With capitalism. Let's address that.
AI would absolutely stick around with socialism, because AI makes better workers for jobs humans shouldn't do. If a job is necessary for humanity to continue, but is a high chance of you hurting yourself, is a high chance of you getting sick, we shouldn't have humans do them. Of course we would keep AI around. Also just for making your life pleasant. And AI is going to be more relied on it as we decommodify a lot of experiences happening in person and we make more of them virtual.
Like, automation is absolutely luxury gay space communism goals. Like, we want more jobs to be automated so that we don't have to continue doing those things. Not even just manual labor, like designing websites and other bullshit jobs. Like how many hours do I need to sit in this chair answering emails, you know? And like even the loneliness epidemic, if we restructure society to be socialist, we are necessarily going to redesign our neighborhoods in a way where you can meet up with people in your neighborhood easily. We're going to necessarily create a less myopic society. I mean, you don't have to.
I want to be in the forest.
Okay.
Honestly, Jimmy, you should be one of my homestead friends. Come up here.
As long as our homesteads are several acres apart.
Exactly. Yes.
Gay urbanism.
There are times in my life I've enjoyed urban living. I like rural living more right now.
Lots of space in Oregon.
Urbanism in the sense of, designing cities to be, not shit.
Right. I don't want to take away that option from anybody, but like the whole thing is like, okay, capitalism is the reason why we have stroads. That's the reason why you have like massive issues with homelessness and like entire parts of town that you can't reasonably walk through because you're walking right next to smog machines like that are loud and could potentially swerve off the sidewalk at any given moment. Like we definitely have like, if we restructure society in such a way that like our entire how we organize the economy is shifted away from prioritizing profits over literally every other goal that could exist. Yeah, like the loneliness epidemic is going to be less severe.
Medical.
Like, if we improve medical outcomes, that's definitely going to, and we need AI tools. Like I just said earlier, breast cancer detection, like detecting it before you even really have breast cancer. That's absolutely integral to a good society. Yeah. Okay.
The number one things that kill people: heart disease, car wrecks, all of these things. Yeah. Traffic will be better in a more AI world.
You're not going to have an entire backup down the highway at twice a day because people are commuting into work. Like, so many things. Capitalism is the problem.
Capitalism definitely makes it worse. Still, I stand by my position.
So the president asked why they're not hearing about the existential risk that AI poses. Oh, no, I think I've already told you, fascists are going to win, so AI is going to kill us. They'll probably use AI to kill us. We're going to lose to AI. That's not the argument. I got to eat today. We're going to lose to the fascists, and they're going to use AI to make us lose. Like, I'm fighting against it, but as I've said many times, Hitler doesn't lose World War II if Twitter existed back then. I just can't. I'm incapable of imagining he would have lost if Twitter existed back then.
I mean, we're watching right now what would happen if we had social media during the Holocaust. And the answer is it doesn't fucking change anything except traumatize an entire generation of people.
Oh, I think it has changed things in that it's normalized. Now it's like
it doesn't stop the killing, is what I was trying to say.
The Overton window is crazy. You're allowed to be fully pro-genocide in a way that everybody can see and know all the reasons that are bad for, and yet they're still like, but that's his political opinion, and I don't want to, I don't want to lose a friend over politics. Anyway, Parker, make your last point, and we're gonna move on here.
All right. There definitely are a few more arguments I didn't get to. I'll just kind of quickly list them off. I also believe that AI used in self-driving cars is not really a good idea because AI cannot be held accountable and thus should not be given any responsibility. I also believe that artificial general intelligence,
AI, wait, they can't be held accountable for what?
For harming people.
Right. So then, why is it a problem if every car is automated? If the reduction of harming people goes from people goes from millions of people dying every year to incidental things that probably rely on factors that no one can control for, so we go down to a few dozen deaths per year. Would you not just have like an insurance fund, like the vaccine injury fund of like, hey, if you're one of those couple dozen who everybody else is way better off, but you got fucked by this tiny chance, why would we not just compensate their families for that and then enjoy the fact that we've cut out millions of deaths a year?
If that's the case, who's designing the AI and what happens? Like, do they have any consequences if the AI kills someone?
Okay, but you said you think AI cars would be a bad idea. If you want to say you think AI cars will be a bad idea because Elon Musk is such a big player in it and the capitalism's the problem, again, anytime your point is the capitalism's going to ruin this, I fucking agree. But if you just definitively say AI cars is a bad idea, I disagree. This is how that's just how
regulation is the problem with that. Like, okay, I agree with you. It sucks that when a systemic thing like kills someone, no one in particular is held accountable. Like, okay, cool. Like maybe there should be a consequence if the person who built the AI that's in the car had some oversight and that their oversight caused a glitch in the system that killed somebody. Like, yeah, I agree. There should be material consequences or the person who owns the company or whoever, like, whatever way we want to stack up the responsibility on that. Like, I don't disagree with that framework that social murder needs to be addressed in a more serious way.
But this is literally the reason why people are against vaccines. Like what you're describing, the vaccine injury fund exists. We should have that same fund for AI cars.
If vaccines cause harm, people are held accountable if vaccines actually do cause harm. I don't believe they do in like the overwhelming majority of cases.
No, obviously. The government has the vaccine injury fund. Vaccines are a net good for everybody. The number of people who die because vaccines excuse me, Parker, I'm going to finish.
Okay, sorry.
Vaccines solve a problem and stop a lot of people from being killed by things that can be prevented, that are these diseases. So these companies put out these vaccines. There is a tiny number of people because of an allergy, because of some unforeseen stuff. It can even be like a blood clot caused by it, which somehow gets all the way into being a blood clot that kills you. It almost doesn't happen at all, but it does happen. And so the government has a vaccine injury fund for those rare occasions that you are one of the few people who technically probably wouldn't have died if you had just not gotten the vaccine, or you get sick, you get injured. If you were one of those few people, but the cost of those few people is the millions of saved lives. This is what it would be with the cars. At the cost of millions of saved lives, we can't be sure that the people who still die in some vehicle-related thing, the few dozen a year or whatever it would be, wouldn't have also otherwise been killed by a vehicle. We'll never be sure. Maybe they specifically would have lived were it not for AI cars. But at the cost of the millions of lives, you can have an AI injury compensation fund and go, this is the best version we have. It sucks, but this is the best we have.
AI is never going to do road rage. AI is never going to shoot someone that they're mad at on the road or drive drunk. They're never going to drive distracted. They're never going to text and drive. Like the comparable number of likely mishaps goes down the more widespread the automation is.
Technically, AI will text and drive. It just won't be distracted by it.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, it is text driving.
Yeah.
Lines
but like road rage incidents and car accidents as a result of road rage are on the rise.
Yeah.
Because COVID causes brain damage. So yeah, it's pretty fucked up out there.
I would argue that, like if you could make AI cars that are this good, that would be certainly, you could make an argument for a system like that. But I would also argue that that scenario is the equivalent of saying, what if we had a king, but the king was morally perfect? Like, yeah, that probably would work, but problem is the incentive systems, right? Like, if you,
except for we just described non-perfection, and but if we had a king that was morally perfect, it'd probably be an AI.
The only reason why you can't imagine a system of accountability that accounts for these issues is because these are all privately owned by people who are using their money to own our government.
Technically, if we converted everybody to like Waymo's technology right now today, it probably would change the numbers in an amount that would still be worth it, even though Waymos are fucking terrible and I hate them. Literally the technology as it is now would still make the number of vehicle-related deaths plummet to a point that it would likely be better as is. And then everybody would have it, so developing it would happen much more quickly, that it would actually get to a point of being good, because right now they suck. They are deployed in Austin, and they just stop traffic.
They would, be able to kill whoever they want without consequence, break whatever law they want without consequence.
Yeah, so you don't design them with once.
Capitalism. Again, the problem that you have is capitalism. I don't disagree with you that capitalism is a problem.
People with bad...
Yep, people will murder. People will murder with them, they'll murder with knives, they'll murder with... And yet the number of deaths will have gone down so much that it will have been worth it. The ability that for the fact that someone is going to abuse it, the fact that someone is going to abuse it does not mean that everybody shouldn't have it, unless you're going to show that that's the default, and we literally can't design the technology to prevent it mostly. That's crazy.
Well, that's what the alignment problem is. We're getting into that.
Parker, we're over here arguing about AI. Your problem is clearly capitalism, and at the end of the day, it's going to be fascism that kills you. So I don't know. Can we just go now? It's been 40 minutes. Can we be done?
Yeah, well, yeah. Fuck fascism. But thanks, Parker. Sure, whatever.
We'll see you, man.
Later, man.
What time is it? We'll see if better calls come in, but we'll take it for a moment. I don't know why. John in Canada. I don't think this is going to go better than last time. John in Canada. You are calling in to say that electing Zohran Mamdani was a mistake. He's a socialist, as though I would consider that a bad thing, which you tried to list last time, apparently not knowing who the fuck you were talking about. And he wants to institute Sharia law. Where would you say you get the evidence that Zohran Mamdani wants to institute Sharia law for New Yorkers?
A, he said, and B, he's a Muslim.
When did he say it?
He said it.
When?
During his campaign.
When? Give me the specific. I will pull it up and play it for everybody if you are telling the truth. You show me where to find that Zohran Mamdani, and I'll use I use Perplexity for debate fact checking, because it's very good at gathering sources very quickly. It sources everything it does. So I'm going to even ask it loaded as though I accept you're right. When did Zohran Mamdani say he wanted to institute Sharia law? Now, while it gathers that information, do Christians all want to implement biblical law in the countries as the law of the country in the countries that they live in?
No, they do not.
So your second evidence was he is a Muslim. Now, next question. What percentage of Muslims live Sharia law themselves?
It's what they do.
What percentage of Muslims live Sharia law themselves?
It's what they do.
What percentage of Muslims live Sharia law themselves?
So we are okay with letting people do Sharia law.
What percentage of Muslims live Sharia law themselves?
All the ones who live in the Middle East, and if you bring them here, they're going to do it here.
Incorrect. What percentage of Muslims live Sharia law themselves?
They're going to do it. It's what they do.
What percentage of Muslims live in Sharia law themselves?
100%. Now, can we move on?
That is incorrect. It is roughly 50%. What percentage of the 50%?
That's bad enough.
What percentage of the 50% of Muslims who live Sharia law believe that other people who are not Muslim should also live Sharia law?
All of them. Now,
incorrect. It is less than 10%. The most accurate number that we can probably, it's hard to get a specific one, but it's estimated to be around 8%. So around 8% of Muslims believe other people in the whole world believe that if you are not Muslim, you should still be forced to live Sharia law. Now, I have gone ahead and done the fact check. I cannot find anywhere that shows that Zohran Mamdani supported bringing Sharia law to America. In fact, there is a PolitiFact article which tried to fact check it and comes to the conclusion that he has never said it. So will you please now give me on what day or what title of what speech I can find your claim that he said he wants to bring Sharia law to Americans?
October. Now, the danger of October.
Excuse me, that is not a date. That is a month. When did he, on what day, and what was the name of the speech? Where can I find and verify it for myself so I can play it for everybody else?
Can we please just talk about the Sharia law?
No, we can first talk. No, because if Zohran Mamdani does not want to bring Sharia law to America, then the reason why you called in, which is that New York made a mistake by electing him because he will bring Sharia law, then whatever Sharia law is irrelevant if he doesn't want to bring it.
Well, he's still a socialist. That's dangerous.
Great. Socialism is what I am. But this is also not what your claim was. So on what day, on what video, where can I find the speech where you said, or are you willing to now admit I was wrong? I don't know why I said that. He did not say he wants to bring Sharia law.
I didn't hear a word you said.
Great. Listen up. I will repeat it since you are having hearing problems. Are you willing to admit that he never said, it's weird then that you seem to know when I've started and stopped. Are you willing to admit that Zohran Mamdani has never said he wishes to bring Sharia law to the U.S.?
I can't hear you.
I will give you $1,000 if you admit you can hear me.
I can't hear you. I really can't hear you.
And yet you only talk when I stop speaking. Now he's trying to prove it.
Hear.
Yeah.
You
literally just stopped talking mid-sentence because I interrupted you.
No, I didn't hear a word you said.
But you hear me now, John?
Yes.
Great. Zohran Mamdani, are you willing to admit that he has never said, or are you going to present to me where I can find the video documentation that he has said that he wants to bring Sharia law?
Fine. He's not bringing Sharia law, but he's still a socialist. That is dangerous.
Great. So we don't even have to worry about Zohran Mamdani because I'm a socialist. Lux is a communist.
Which is wrong, by the way.
And Lux is a communist. So if you like, we can just debate socialism. Now,
let's do that.
What is socialism, John?
It's when the means of production and the profits are owned by the people, not the government. It's all shared, distributed equally, and it was devised by Mr. Karl Marx so that you would have a classless society.
That was fun. It goes a lot of places, and clearly you're reciting off. So now I would like you to explain in your own words, comprehensively, how society would change if America became a socialist society. What would America look like? And prove that you know the definition that you just recited off by staying consistent with it.
Okay, here's a concern I have with you're equating equality with equity, which is
John,
two different
how
things.
would the question was, how will society change? How would American society, what would American society look like in a way that is consistent with the definition that you just offered if we were to become a socialist country?
Well, if we became socialists, the rich that you they would be forced to give their money to the poor people. Every single person would have to give a portion of their paycheck to every other person, regardless of whether or not they work or whether or not they know each other. And then under communism, you can't. There's no such thing as private property.
Well, we just switched to communism. I thought you were doing socialism. You just switched to communism. I thought we were doing socialism.
But communism is a subset of socialism.
Correct, but you said you wanted to argue socialism. I'm not a communist. Lux is. I'm not.
What's the difference?
You just described what the difference was. Socialism has a state. Also, most socialist societies are not afraid of, like, if once you meet everybody's needs, if there's some little capitalism for a treat happening off on the side. But you meet everybody's needs. You take care of everybody. Yes, you do redistribute wealth. There is still going to be a system that you would describe as somewhat monetary. Socialism doesn't require it, but communism definitely wouldn't. But basically, you're keeping track and ledgers of things using a system that looks a lot like money. And you were listing off some things there at the beginning. I was wondering what the bad parts were. Taking the rich and giving to the poor.
The bad parts are that you can't confuse equality with equity. If you take two different people, you're going to get two different results.
This isn't the bad part. This is you trying to rebut some philosophical problem. We're describing the design of the society, and the bad thing you tried to list off was that rich people would be forced to give their money to the poor. Would they be forced to be poor? Would a rich person be forced to be poor?
If you take all their money, eventually they will become poor.
No one said all their money. No one. Whoever said all their money? Whoever said that?
Well, if you take if you take enough money, you run out. That's how it works. When you pay for something, the money's not yours anymore.
So a socialist society does not make anybody poor. If you're a communist, if you're in the forms of socialism where there is no capital, your needs are met, and the forms of socialism where there's something like capital to ledger, there is no description. You're just deciding it. The rich people will suddenly become poor. What they'll become is equal. They won't get to have excess while people have nothing, while people die of starvation.
That's not how it works, Jimmy. That's not how it works at all.
You know, it's really fascinating how, like, we are socialists and we are telling you what that means, and you're just going, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Like, we have never lived in a society. Nowhere on the planet has there ever been a true socialist society. So you have nothing to pull from to negate what we are saying. Like, we're saying this is our belief system and this is how we would institute it. Like, we want a society where there isn't a class disparity, where people at the top can't hoard resources, where we don't have homeless people, like there's zero homelessness. Like that's what our ideology is. That is what the kind of government would be like if we were running the government. Like that. So you can't just be like, nuh-uh, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, it doesn't make any sense is that you're talking about a utopian society that doesn't exist. That the kind of you're asking for will never, ever, 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 ever exist in the real world.
According to you.
Because nothing in life is free. It's going to reality.
I mean, so long as the United States government keeps violently suppressing movements, then sure, I could agree that it'll never exist. But if we get rid of imperialism, then why not?
Jen, have it your way. It'll never exist. So let's you and I just agree to work together to implement the forms of society that right now are better than the American forms of society. And we'll just start adopting things that a socialist society would have. But right now, in the short term, you and I will just work to make America resemble more like a Nordic country. Right? We'll just do that. We'll just bring the pieces. We'll bring as much socialism as we can to keep rich people.
You don't want to live in another country. You don't.
Excuse me. How would you know my ones? Why would you tell me? Why would you tell me that right now?
In the world. You are living in the best country in the world. That's how I know.
No. I live in the best country in the world. Excuse me. I live in the best country in the world for. Excuse me. I'm going to finish my sentence. Whether it kills you, John. I live in the best country in the world for rich people. I am not a rich person.
For people in general.
Nope.
How do you think you're able to afford this?
Incorrect.
Show,
the overall happiness index.
Able to afford this show?
John.
Yeah. If you're able to afford this.
Okay, so John, we're just going to mute you, as you've already acknowledged in previous calls. I don't remember if you did this one. The socialism that we want doesn't exist. So you're pointing to other countries and you're saying this is the best one for everyone. It isn't for everyone. If you are poor, if you are disabled, if you are sick, if you are literally, there are many countries that is better to be poor in. If you are destined for bad medical outcomes, even countries which have more poverty and other problems that I wouldn't want to live with, there are countries that, because they have a more socialist system, have better medical outcomes, unless you are rich. If you are rich, you will have the best medical outcomes in the world if you are in America. If you are not, you will have better medical outcomes in Cuba. And that's a fact.
Also, like, you're complaining about, they're going to take your money and spend it on whatever. They're going to take your money and give it to someone else. Like, okay, right now, I have to pay thousands of dollars in taxes every year because I'm self-employed. And I don't get public services. I don't get universal health care. Like, I send a bunch of my money to a government that bloats the military so much that they have extra military equipment that then gets used with police. And then the police can be more aggressive to me in the community that I live in and pay taxes in. So as opposed to a system where I pay taxes and ultimately end up paying less for my healthcare, for example, countries with socialized medicine pay half as much as we do, and they have just as much choice about their doctors, and they get in a more timely fashion than we do, waiting for specialist referrals and everything. I would like to pay taxes and actually get services. Right now, I pay taxes for a government that doesn't represent me and is actively screwing over my rights and limiting my speech and limiting my ability to live in this country. So, frankly, it's bullshit that I have to pay taxes at all, because that's what I'm paying for.
I guess I'll unmute John.
If you want to.
Medical outcomes are better in Cuba. What are you going to do about that, John?
The problem with you is that you're comparing the United States to utopia. It will never be utopia.
Nope, I just compared it to you. I just compared it to Cuba. Hey, I just compared it to Cuba. Medical outcomes for
Cuba. You don't want to live in Cuba.
Okay, you're not going to let me finish, so I'm going to have to keep muting you. How do you respond to the fact that medical outcomes for the average citizen are better in Cuba than America? Go on, John.
The infrastructure is terrible. The technology is down.
John, how do you respond to the fact that medical outcomes are better in Cuba than America?
They're not.
Except they are.
You're getting it better here.
You're just saying
you don't.
Except
you don't
they
want
are.
to live in Cuba. Why are you paying Cuba to come into your country, not the way around? If it was not the case, they'll be going there.
Hey, John, since you're not going to answer my questions when I ask them, you're going to just answer whatever tangential question you think makes your point. I'm once again going to tell you, fuck off. I've never enjoyed your calls. I don't know why I haven't banned you. You are... Actually, let me ask you the question I asked you the other day. Oh, he hung up. Y'all can go see on my threads if you like. I asked John a question. Let me pull it up, actually. I'd like to play the audio for everybody. A question I asked from John from Canada the last time he was on. Let me just get this. Trying to tell somebody, if you were tasked with a way of trying to tell somebody politely that you believe not as an insult, legitimately not as an insult, but you recognize that a person was in fact a stupid person, but you don't want to insult them with that. You just want to break the news to them, so they kind of know it going forward. Oh crap, I probably need to put in a little bit of extra work before I vote or impose my will or argue about things because I'm a stupid person. How would you go about politely? What words would you use to politely reveal that to a person?
What does this question have to do with anything? With
yeah.
this topic?
Yeah.
So that's what happened last time. And I feel in a way that that's what happened this time. The John in Canada was the friends we made along the way. Roger in Texas is on the line with Jimmy and Luxander. Roger, how old are you?
I'm 42.
Great. Are you, did you vote for Donald Trump in the last election?
Yes, the last one, yes.
Who'd you vote for in 2020?
That one I didn't vote. I didn't feel good about it.
Who'd you vote for, Hillary versus Trump in 2016?
I voted for Trump then too.
Okay, so Trump, no Trump. Okay, got it. All right. You have a question about the Democrats. You can go ahead and ask, but I would suggest you call Democrats next time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, well, you're right. I shouldn't label anybody. Well, your opinion.
Yeah, I'm
then,
a socialist.
I guess is what
I think Democrats are fucking gross. Right. I'm a socialist, so I don't know. I can't answer for why Dems are doing the things they do, but go ahead.
Right. I hear you.
So what was your question?
Do you want me to ask?
Yeah.
Well, I thought I heard you say, forget the labels, but there's a uprising going on in Iran right now, and it's getting pretty serious. And they're reporting, basically all the outlets. But I've been on some of the YouTube influencers, but like Polly, I can't remember her last name. She's Iranian, and she made some really good points. But my question is this: it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you in the past had said you thought diplomacy would work with the Iranian regime that's, Islamic extremists that's running the government there. And of course, back to Palestinians. Well, the Persian people who don't speak Arabic, they speak a different language. They consider themselves real Iranians. The bulk of the people uprising right now, they're anti-Palestinian. They blame them for the overthrow, and they consider the folks running them as Arabs and invaders. And I just don't understand why it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you backed the Iranian regime that's in there now and diplomacy as opposed to they only understand one thing, and that's kick their ass.
You're definitely wrong. What's happened over there, first of all, is America's fault and a lot of other people's fault. The way they do sanctions in a way that basically keeps the bad people in power because they're fine. We've seen how this happens in North Korea, and yet our sanctions have done shit all to North Korea and have done sanctions that have more disproportionately harmed the people and their systemic power, while maybe creating unrest at best is what you can do there. But they have not effectively in any way done anything that was beneficial to trying to get the will of the people there. And if you are under the impression that I have ever said that I am pro what is his name? Khamenei, and the Islamic Republic, then you are sorely mistaken.
The Supreme Leader.
And in the current with the current uprising, I am absolutely with the people of Iran, the Iranian protesters. I am 100% with them. But I don't ignore the Western amplification of this problem and why the U.S. is culpable and so much shit going wrong over there.
What about the proxies that the Iranian government supports, like the Houthis and the Hezbollah and Hamas?
What is your question about? What about them?
Well, my question is, I feel what you're saying.
If I don't support the regime, why would I support their Islamic activism groups?
Proxies, yeah, throughout the region, because they do everything to upend, like the Abraham Accords. I believe that's why October 7th happened.
I support the people. I don't know what to tell you. I support the protesters. I support progressivism. I also support America.
Okay. But by that logic, though, then you don't support Hamas and the Palestinians.
I do not support Hamas. I do not support Hamas broadly, and I don't support Hamas as a doing things to civilians. I, however, do not have the unnuanced take that Hamas is simply evil and that nothing Hamas does isn't literally shooting back at the people who are killing their people and family and friends.
Okay. Well, I was
not that simple.
Dead wrong, man. I thought that. Right.
Okay.
Right. But do you feel that just like the Iranian people have the right, the real Iranian people, to be free and live, in a free society and make their own choices and such? Do you believe that the Israeli people have the same right to defend themselves?
The description, Israel has the right to defend themselves. They obviously have the right to defend themselves from being killed unjustly. They are an occupying force. So arguably, Israel has made its own citizens something of a military presence because they are literally an occupying and invading force and then just letting the peeps come along. So once again, it is not that simple. But I don't think any civilian should be killed. I also think Israel, while shit-talking Hamas about human shields, literally does every human shield thing they accuse Hamas of.
What about 2016,
Dude,
Land for
Roger,
Peace, where there was
I'm not going to do a list of what about. Go watch the channel and shows and get an idea of my beliefs.
You don't want to admit. You don't want to admit there was no occupation by the Israelis in 2016.
Okay, so now I'm going to stop you, Roger.
The Nakba started 70 years ago.
I didn't even listen to your question when I started responding. I said I'm not doing. What about? If you want to know my beliefs, oh my God, I put so many of them on the internet. You can go and watch them. Anything from the last 2 years will do. I was a little bit more lib-brained before that. Anything from the last, maybe even a little bit further than 2 years. Okay, Roger? I'm not going to sit here and do like a weird fucking, I feel like I'm interviewing for the worst fucking job in the world because someone who doesn't know me hasn't even read my resume. Have you ever seen that Malcolm in the Middle where Craig is interviewing the guy who played George from Seinfeld, his character, and he hands him his resume and Craig goes, "There's nothing a resume can tell me that a conversation wouldn't be better for." And then he tears it down and he throws it away and he goes, "Now, tell me about your work history." Like, fucking Christ, Roger. I'm not going to do unlimited minutes of what about. It's not even what aboutism. You just apparently want me to just tell you everything I believe. And we're just going to go all day. So your whole try to get me at the, you don't want to admit, but I didn't even listen to the question. I was already telling you this before the question even began. Go find my beliefs, find the ones you disagree with me on, call back and we'll argue about that. Jesus fucking Christ. I started this show with my, right before we went live, I was like, I honestly don't want to be here, so I'm not going to give any fucks. And I feel I've given more fucks than I would committed myself to not giving. But Jesus fucking Christ. That's true. It's nobody to blame but myself. The last person that is trying to call in, I think, I don't know if I trust it. But in the meantime, Joseph in Nevada. Joseph, you are on the line with Jimmy and Luxander. Joseph, we have a live chat right now with over 1,200 people in it. When they talk about you in the live chat, would you prefer they refer to you as a he, she, they, or something else?
He.
Great. Thank you very much.
I don't really use pronouns, but he.
Excellent.
And happy New Year's to you.
Happy New Year's to you as well. By the way, every sentence you've said so far has had a pronoun in it. Joseph, what point are you calling in to make?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say the person on the top of the screen, Luxander, I just want to say I have a really big penis. I can suck my own cock, bitch.
Joseph waited how long to do that? Luthien, you know, how long ago did you screen that call?
They were waiting for 13 minutes, yeah.
13 minutes. Called in previously as Josh, now Joseph.
Sexual harassment is weird.
Yeah, it's called in as MAGA, has called in to defend MAGA in the past. MAGA,
also, did he just say he could suck his own dick? Okay, so I actually saw a Twitter thread one time years ago.
Bitch.
Yeah. But I saw a Twitter thread one time that was like, for those of you who can, is it more like having your dick sucked, or is it more like sucking a dick? And by and large, it's just sucking a dick. So he just came in here to say he's an F slur and then leave.
Oh, did they F slur too? I only heard bitch.
No, that I'm just saying he came in here to say he's gay. Like he's a master of sucking dick.
Sounds gay as fuck to me.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I would have had questions about sucking his own dick. It's a weird. Was that your own? Was that the like?
You like to fillet yourself?
Dick.
That's a big own.
I can suck my own dick, bitch. Weird. Like what? I'll be thinking about it. You might survive my thoughts past the show because I don't really think about
which is
show much beyond it. It's just dumb.
Luthien asked you a question in the.
No, we'll leave him for the moment, just see if anything good comes in. But who knows? All right. Well, Raymond in California is leftish. Raymond in California,
Hello?
you're on the line with Luxander and Jimmy. How are you, Raymond?
Hi, I'm all right. How are you? How are you guys?
Just fine. Is it true everybody loves you? You bet you've never heard that joke before. Never
Actually,
once.
not so much, I'd say.
You're old, Jimmy.
I want to say as well, Alexander, about that last caller. Sorry that he was rude.
It's fine.
Why are you sorry?
I don't care.
Kinda.
Yeah, why are you apologizing for him?
This is my first time ever calling into a call-in thing. I don't know. He was really rude, and I thought that was like really out of pocket to wait that long just to be like rude.
It'd be really funny if now Raymond just starts screaming slurs.
It's pretty funny.
It's kind of like what I think would be. All right, Raymond, what are you calling it about?
I was calling because the last election was my first election of age. I'm 22, and I voted for Trump. And now I'm like staunchly against him, and I was like right-leaning because of my family and my religion and everything, but I've kind of like gotten away from religion. But I always feel really bad that I voted for Trump in the first place, and people always make me feel bad about it, even though like I'm like really sorry that I did, and I wish I didn't,
Yeah, I get it, man.
And I was just calling
unfortunately,
to
like especially leftists
because,
don't know how to take you to the step of rehabilitation. They just like to pretend that they're super in support of it. So a lot of them do. So is your question like, what do I made the mistake. Luckily you made it in California. So you didn't do it anywhere with terrible impact. I guess that's like a little bit of a saving grace. Yeah. You even said, I actually believe you're there just from the way you said the word California just now. I don't know if you know that, but you say it like a Californian. So you just want to know what to do next? I mean, we got
because like
your primaries are going on, right? Primary season has started. Support actual leftists. Get everybody in you can, as far left as you can. March.
I've been trying with
canvas.
What's
that?
Yeah,
you've been trying.
I've been trying with like my family because like my whole family's like right.
Give up on them.
But I've kind of given up because every time they'll just like be like, "You're dumb, you're wrong," and I'm like, "But I'm giving you facts and information. Like
you've just explained why. You've just explained why
so, like,
that's my actual advice to give up on them, because your family has a built-in mechanism that is different than everybody else's. Your parents, when you're a child and your child comes to you and goes, I found they're holding like a piece of poop and they're like, look at this awesome rock. Your parents already know to accept that you're just a stupid piece of shit and you're not going to be smart until they educate you. And somehow that never goes away for a lot of parents, especially when a parent wants to feel intellectually and in other ways superior to their child. So you had no shot. You have no chance at getting through to most kids do not have a chance at getting through to their family until their family comes to them to ask them. So you would be better putting your energy elsewhere.
Okay. I just thought like maybe with my mom, because like I said, I used to be like, when I voted for Trump, I was religious and I was like right leaning and I was like, oh, he's gonna do all this stuff because the Bible, blah blah blah. And now I'm kind of like, every time I listen to someone who's religious like argue on one of your guys' shows, or one of the shows, I'm just like, oh, these are like the dumbest arguments I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And when I told her like that I wasn't, she was really accepting. She was really accepting that like I wasn't, like I was like I don't really believe in God, and she was really accepting. So I kind of thought, with in terms of politics, I think that she might be the only person I could sway, but everyone else just kind of like is like, oh, vote red. Like my uncle put the big old Prop 50 no sign in his front yard and got really, really mad when he found out I was going to vote yes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. I never got through to my family. I feel for you. I never got through to my family either, and I feel very much for you on that. It's just that mechanism's in there, and a parent has and other family members. I mean, to my family, I've clearly defeated them all in debate. I clearly am right and they are wrong, but some of them change my diapers, and then the other ones just try to focus on like personal life shit about things I did when I was younger that was shitty, so they can dismiss me because I must be who I am now. Or
that's what my mom.
That I'm the black
that's what, like,
sheep.
My family
or
does whenever like. Oh, sorry. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what happens with my family. Like I'll say something against Trump, and I'll be like, oh, like this is why you should vote yes on 50, or this is why you should vote at least Democrat because at least they're not like far right, you know. And they'll just be like, well, you voted for Trump, so none of it matters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to have them call me. If you want your family to have a potential of changing, have them talk to other people. They don't respect you like that. If you want, but you could, your best efforts are put in other places, and mostly in community building, and not even trying to convince people to change their mind, trying to convince the people who already probably agree with you to actually go fucking vote, to actually go participate.
Yeah.
That's an easier bar
what
to
I've been
meet.
doing. I've been like, vote. Like I always tell my friends now, I'm like, vote. And they're like, oh, maybe I will vote now. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
But find your candidates and go canvas for them. You sound like you're very charismatic, and people will probably enjoy talking to you at their door. Unfortunately, it'll be a lot of lonely people, and that can be not fun, but you should go do that.
Yeah. I'm on the spectrum, so like and I have ADHD, so like
you don't have to tell me, Raymond. I already
You can
knew
do
that.
text banking. You can volunteer to text just volunteer for campaigns.
Yeah, it's just. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I thought about that because, like I said, I couldn't because my car broke down, but I was gonna go to the No Kings protest, and that would have been my first protest I went to because I was like, I want to like help people and I want things to change from how they are. It's just like when you bring up like communism, socialism, whatever. People are always like, oh, I hate that. But then when you're like, oh, affordable healthcare or every healthcare for all or whatever, then they're like, oh, like I like that idea.
Yeah, when you avoid the buzzwords and you just get down to the issues, people seem a lot more socialist than they think that they are.
It is pretty common for even conservatives. Well, Raymond, that's I think the advice we give you. We're going to jump to a debate call here in a second, but
thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you.
I hope that the rest of your callers are not super rude and at least somewhat understanding, or try to be at least. It might not happen, probably won't, but I hope so.
Good luck out there, Raymond.
Have a nice night.
Are we pretty sure this Josh is just going to be Joseph Josh again?
Maybe.
We'll find out. Hey, Josh in Kentucky, you're on the line with Jimmy and Luxander. What are your pronouns?
Who's Joseph? Who's Texas? Who's Texas? Who's Joseph? But I'm confused about this other guy. I'm not the same one. This is my first time call.
All right, that's cool. Josh, what are your pronouns? He, him. What do you want our chat to call you? He, him, she, her, they, them.
I'm a Luciferian Satanist. I am basically don't care about pronouns. I am the thing. I am the devil, my brother.
Okay, and so what would you like our chat to call you? He, him, they, them, she, her.
Oh my God, this silly stuff, bro. I'm from the fucking 90s, man. What happened to what happened to the left with all this these
hey, Josh,
languages,
Josh, promise to me that you won't snort any more while we're on the call, and then tell me, would you like he, him, they, them, or she, her?
Call me the devil, bro.
That's not a pronoun. Would you like he, him, she, her, they, them?
Pronoun.
But it's not. He, him, they, them, she, her. Hey, Josh, would you like he, him, she, or you could do she, they? There are mixes. There are other options. He, him.
This is not an argument.
I'm not
an argument.
I know, it's a question.
Silliness. I'm a nihilist. I'm a person that is an individual. I'm not he or they. I'm Josh.
Was it an amphetamine or just straight up coke?
funny.
I'm not joking. I know what I hear. I know that you are not in a I know you're in an altered state, so I'm just asking what your poison is.
Altered state, walking around Kroger's getting cat food.
Yeah, and you don't even have a cat, so that's why I know you're in an altered state.
Do you think no, well, hold up. You didn't give me a chance to say anything.
He, him, they, them, or she, her?
Yeah, I thought we were having an argument about socialism and capitalism.
We will as soon as you answer the question, because when you enter my house, no, there's no holding up. There's only you holding up. So now I've muted you. I've asked you a question. Just like if you entered my house, you don't get to decide to not take off your shoes if that's the rule at the door. I have a live chat of 1,200 people. I would like to enable them to more easily refer to you using pronouns. Generally, pronouns are made up of as few letters as possible to be efficient in speaking, both in the number of syllables and in the number of letters used. So your choices right now are he, him, she, her, they, them, possibly something else if you'd like a neo-pronoun, as long as you know what that neo-pronoun actually is. So Josh, as I unmute you, you are in my home. Take off your shoes and tell me which pronouns you would like.
Well, we can call it reality.
I don't know if he knew he was muted or if he stopped talking.
I think he was just talking the whole time.
Yeah. Okay. Chad in Alabama. I'm going to leave you with Luxander while I go pee. But welcome to the line. You're on the line with Jimmy and Luxander.
You gotta pee.
I'll be back. Don't you worry,
Okay.
Chad. It doesn't take me long.
All right.
We'll take turns.
You better pee quick.
All right, Chad, what do you want to talk about today?
Am I here? Am I still here?
Yeah.
Hello?
What's
okay,
up?
I heard another beep. I was just wondering. Okay, so what I'm concerned about is that, there's the old adage where you have, the cat and the dog are fighting, the rat is always safe from either one, right? So if you look back to what was it, 2008, I believe, Occupy Wall Street, that was the closest we have come to true, revolutionary change. And, they were talking about real issues then. They were also talking about social issues about, the LGBT rights and things like this. And so there was a lot of that as well. But the most important things were being discussed they were terrified of, and that was questioning the banking system. And if everybody were to unite under questioning the banking system, we would find ourselves on the road to freedom from, interest slavery. The fractional reserve lending system is basically an advanced blackmailing scheme by printing money and giving the purchasing power to the first hands that receive it, which is, basically Wall Street banks and government. And then us being the taxpayer having the burden of paying it back or, having to extract wealth from us and our land in order to stay rich. They have the money printer and then they have all the wealth. It's basically like the same thing as when, those economic hitmen go into Africa and then they pay off the ruling, the king or the prime minister, and he just screws over all of his people as long as he's, taken care of, and he can take trips to Europe and buy a bunch of nice stuff and take it back to Africa. So it's kind of the same thing. That's how these usurers operate. There's a parasitical group of people, and they are bankers, and they pit, left versus right, when in reality it's just a uniparty with the false dichotomy of choice. There is no choice. And so if I think we can all agree that there's this consistent march in one direction, whether there's concessions made here for the left and for the right, but the overall core principles that matter in our system never really change. The rich are always getting richer.
I mean, you're not going to get a lot of pushback from us on any of these points because we're socialists. And so when you say there's a false dichotomy between left versus right, I'm correct. there's the party of fascism and there's the party of enablers. And like, I know that some people might disagree with me that like, I don't think there's no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, but I just think that the differences don't pull us back far enough when the Democrats have power. Like we have this like ratchet where it keeps getting pulled further to the right. And it feels like the Democrats' only job is to keep it from going back to the left in any way. And if you're saying like the bankers are a big problem, like, of course we are anti-capitalists. So yeah, I don't think really we have a lot of like points of disagreement on any of that.
Well, I think we do. I think we will have disagreement, but I think you'll realize that we really don't have any business having a disagreement on an issue such as I'm basically a socialist, right? And there's two different kinds of socialism. Don't immediately press the ban hammer when I say it, but there's Marxist socialism, which is basically socialism based off the principle of like, there's still like a private oligarchy. There's still like a moneyed interest, a moneyed power, private moneyed power that kind of operates in these Marxist societies. And then you have a society that does not, and it uses usury. So you still have international, you're still part of the international banking system. But then you have like a sovereign banking system that prints a currency that's controlled by the actual government and not private banking hands. And so it could be any kind of fiat, right? But the government gives it value because the government actually reinvests that money into itself. So that's the benefit of this form of socialism, which is national socialism. And so, like, when they raise the GDP of their country, they immediately get the returns of their gains. But like,
hey man, you got to bring this to
Marxist
something. We don't let people. This is so open mic host syndrome.
Okay,
hang on, Chad.
Okay, all right.
You need to bring this to a question
finish.
or a point of
Okay,
argument
let me
because we don't let
finish.
just
It's
people.
coming, buddy. You just got to be patient. You just got to be patient.
Nope.
Just
No,
gotta
I
be
don't.
patient.
I don't. You don't get to, as I'm giving you correction, you don't get to talk over me and tell me how it's going to go. So now I'm not going to give you the opportunity to finish. Fuck off. That's not how this works. If I'm saying to you, I need you to wrap it up, bring it somewhere, and you're talking over me and telling me, no, you just got to be patient. You got to let me. No, I don't. I don't have to do shit. You and I were on the same side, and this is proof. It's about how you talk. How you engage is what you will receive back. And if you treat me like I can fuck off, I will literally make you fuck off. And that's what just happened.
All right. Before we take this, or you take this next caller, whatever, I'm going to go pee.
Tommy, you literally called like 2 minutes ago and you called in as Roger. And you also called in earlier at the beginning of the show. Why are you calling in as multiple people? Why are you trying to bypass my question? I just muted you. So Tommy, first you answer my question, then I'll answer yours. Why are you changing your name to try and get on? Why should we engage in you with you in good faith?
Okay. Nobody's changing their name. Why don't you debate Turning Point USA?
Did you or did you not call as Roger about the Iranian uprising literally 10 minutes ago?
No,
maybe 20.
But I'm asking you now about Turning Point USA. Will you debate them?
Yes, you fucking did.
Will you debate Turning Point?
Anybody from Turning Point USA is welcome to call in.
You won't do it. You've never debated them. You're a coward.
Tommy,
you're a little coward, Jimmy.
Hey, Tommy, why hasn't Tommy?
What?
Are you gonna answer my question? And you're not even Tommy, you're Roger. Tommy, when has Turning Point USA ever sent me an invitation?
A bunch of times. They sent you over 25 formal ones. You won't acknowledge them, just like you won't acknowledge the fact that your fake illnesses. Your fake illness.
Great. Now it's my fake illnesses. Tommy, literally, I know who you are, by the way. Tommy, literally, I have never been invited by Turning Point USA to debate. No one has ever engaged in trying to get me on air, and none of them have called me. They can call me anytime, Tommy. So you're sitting here, you're calling in as a troll, you're drunk. You tried to leave a bunch of drunk comments the other night. Tommy, I have zero interest in you. I'm very excited to hear that my illnesses are fake. Because my life, where I literally basically don't leave home and I can't eat almost anything. I am eating my dark chocolate. This is the only sweet I get in my life.
I love dark chocolate.
I don't, but it's the only thing I can do. I'm very excited to hear I'll now be able to eat. My partner's very excited to hear she'll no longer have to prep my medicines as she does a couple of times a day for me. Sometimes I do them, sometimes she does them to be nice. It's very exciting to hear, and people are going to be very confused by the immense weight loss and transformation I've changed because it happened so fast. It seemed like it couldn't have been that I just suddenly went from addicted to food and unhealthy with my relationship to it. So just apparently like just great at losing a lot of weight in a very short period of time. It's very, very exciting to hear that I'm actually well and I can actually go out and start doing things.
Yeah. That's awesome.
From Tommy.
It's a miracle.
Who is nobody to me. Just a guy who rants in the comments and wants to ask why I don't debate Turning Point USA, claims I have 25 formal invitations and I have 0. So Tommy, it's weird that you're starting with a lie. And you're ending with a lie. I wonder if I should unmute. Do I even bother?
I don't think so.
Tommy, where are those invitations that I got that I've ignored?
Well, Jimmy, you know that you've received them from Turning Point USA. You won't debate them because you can't hit a mute. You're a coward.
I literally haven't.
That's what you are.
I have
You're
not
a transy loving coward. Hey,
now I'm a transy loving coward. I've muted again. I literally have never. If you guys think I wouldn't. Even if I turned it down, the way I would do videos with the screenshots of the invitations from Turning Point USA.
We would make money off of that. Yeah.
Even if the answer was a no. I know Andrew Wilson, not Turning Point, or I believe, can't say I know, it just sounds like him, has called in to chew gum, and I talk about that shit like crazy. So, I mean, Tommy, what is the point in continuing?
Quit being a little coward.
Okay, I'm a little coward.
Jimmy,
Bye.
Are you going to debate your...
Bye. I love transies.
Someone called me a trainee, like train.
A trainee?
Yeah, in the chat.
Trainees and transies.
True.
Imagine calling somebody else a coward and all you're doing is screaming like literal lies. You've gotten 25 formal invitations. I've gotten 0.
People don't know we can see the information from the last time you called. I know when you're using a fake name. I can see it. I can see.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why you're calling back. And I know you're not Richard. Let's see if that's actually I'm trying to lie with the new name.
Yeah.
Lux saw this in the background. I get tension headaches and I bought this and I was so here's the deal. I was getting these tension headaches. It's not even that I was getting them every day. I just had for like a 2-week straight period. I didn't even know it was a tension headache till a doctor finally was like, this is a tension headache. It's the type of headache. I thought they were cluster headaches before. They were getting so bad. I was literally like, bruh, things were getting bleak. Anyway. I've ordered this because I was desperate to try anything. And what these are is they vibrate the heat, but they also are electrodes.
Ooh.
You can use them as a dog collar. Anyway, they're stronger than a dog collar, but they literally function the same way. They seize your muscles up and they release them. And the way this was the first thing that took my tension headache away. So it could be a coincidence? Yes. Could it be a placebo effect? I don't know, maybe. But the way I now live in this thing that I thought was like not going to help my tension headaches come from my neck. And if you feel my neck, my muscles are like always tensed in my neck.
Yeah. My traps are like seized up at all times.
And this, because you can't physically, movements will activate them and move them around. Right. But you can't just flex those and release them yourself. But this will do that. And the way this is like made, but anyway, Lux sent a message to the Discord because it was back here like this, and just said, I can't
the way
even
that
get
it
the angle
was,
right.
It did look like lips and fucked up teeth on the inside. It was so weird.
Lux thought I just had a little statue of metal teeth and was very distracted
I was
by
like,
them in the
what is
background.
going on over there?
But that thing is really good, actually.
That's awesome.
Which is funny. Yeah, someone said Jimmy's into shock collars. So years ago, I bought one because we had a German Shepherd who had a hunter's drive and would like try to like run after and
prey
kill.
Drive, yeah.
Yeah, and that was what the trainer at the time said was the thing to do. We ended up, I think probably trying it once or twice and then switched to vibrate only. She didn't need it. I wouldn't use shock these days, but I consulted with a trainer, didn't like it. That said, I used to use that shock collar on my own. People would be like, how would you like it if someone put that on? I'm not even joking. When I would get headaches, I would put it up on my head and I would turn it to 100% and I'd activate it. I go,
just like zap yourself. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have one of those guns that has
German
the
Shepherd tried to
ball
kill
on the
a
end of
deer
it.
once.
That's like, and that's pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing is the bomb. All right. So we have another person pretending to not be the person they just called in as. Richard, why are you calling in as a different name now, thinking you're going to get on when I just told you to fuck off?
Hi, my name is Dick, actually, for short, but...
Okay, well, fuck off. We'll see if any of these are calls I give a shit about. I'm going to guess maybe that one would be okay.
I love how the previous note for this one just says trans.
John Trans. I'm actually going to turn it on. This thing is like, yeah, people, I think one of the things, not that I'm trying to help Hassan rehabilitate or whatever his image that people got mad about, because I understand why they were mad, but I also understand that a lot of them don't know what the fuck they were talking about. People have this idea of like what electricity does to you, especially at those lower pulses, and like what electricity feels like, and not realizing that literally what it does is you don't feel shocked. Your muscle tenses. It causes your muscle to tense. If it's put on poorly, it can burn you, though. That's true.
Yeah,
in fact, this one I've already had burned my neck by putting it on wrong once, a little bit. But yeah, it's TENS therapy. I've bought TENS pads for multiple partners to help during their period times.
Is that that's the thing that people can do the period simulation with the TENS. I would love to see how it compares to my cramps.
Especially.
I would love to see, because I think I have endo. It's fucking bad.
Yeah, people with endo benefit from it. There's also adenomyosis, which is sort of like an internal tissue endometriosis. There are calls coming in. They're just being screened right now.
Yeah, we're just killing a little time.
Let me turn the shock up.
She talks to you.
To tell you what thing you've...
I just can't actually hear what it's saying. I can just hear a voice.
Pulse level 5.
Yeah.
Max pulse level. And so, yeah, it literally is like, this thing was great.
I don't know if you're a person who could answer this question, but you've seen like probably the existence of the videos that are like men and women both try the TENS machine to period cramp simulation, and like the girls can handle it, but the men can't. Would it be like messed up if I was like, let me get some trans men and trans women together and see what the comparison is? I don't know.
Thank you for asking my cis opinion, though. Yeah. I don't know.
I want you to feel valid.
I can imagine why that would be, and it not actually be that big of a brag, though, because I think we'll have slightly different muscle structures. Because obviously, like, I don't know. I feel that I certainly can handle more TENS activity than almost anybody who doesn't do TENS stuff. But specifically where my ovaries aren't, I would not want to put them, especially with my gut that's in the way, and the way all that water fat would probably just feel funky.
It would like distribute the electrical signal weirdly.
Yeah, I think that would be odd, but that might just be a function of anybody who's got a belly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't want to do. I literally I've been putting it on the max since the first time I used it. My brother and I, we bought this toy years ago, and they don't make toys like this anymore. There's kind of a toy a little bit like this that's different, and it's much less, but it's basically a machine that you hold and it shocks you, and it gets stronger and stronger, and it detects who lets go. So the whole thing is you each have a handle that's getting worse and worse, and your arm's going crazy. It's like and whoever lets go first loses. You win by holding on the longest.
Explicitly not supposed to put it across a joint.
No, you're holding it on your hand. So the electricity's flow, like once it gets strong enough, and like he and I would play it almost every day, and we got to the point where like, we weren't even beginning to become uncomfortable at the point where most people were like, oh my God, get that out of here. Yeah. You can become quite desensitized to what is otherwise very strong Strong stuff. But anyway, I don't know why I'm bringing this up because caller Roger, Tyler, whatever, who has multiple names and calls in as multiple people, has a problem with honesty in others. He told me that all of my illness is fake, which is I can't tell you how much of a relief this is to hear because my life is miserable accommodating my fake illnesses right now. All right, Jasmine. Jasmine's pronouns are he, them, and is calling from Kentucky. Jasmine, you are on the line with Jimmy and Luxander.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going. Hey, are you driving?
A little bit. Don't worry. I'm about to pull over pretty soon.
If you pull over right now, we'll continue the call, but we don't mess with that.
Tell Satan that those presidents are pedophiles.
Was that the Satanist guy again?
I don't know, but there's only 2 pronouns, something about Satan and pedophiles. Like, okay, have fun.
Well, we're expanding our band list.
You seem
today.
like a well-adjusted person.
I'm going to say the live streaming to Instagram basically failed, and we may try and do TikTok next, but I don't believe almost anybody watched on Instagram. So I don't know if that just means we have to do it more, but it's telling me there's 2 people watching right now, and so I just don't think that's the place for it. So I'm ending the live just to Instagram. Luthien, can you hear me first of all? Yes, you should be able to. Hit the gear icon next to stream and go to the 2 again and click stop on just 2 to make sure that we're not putting out to something that's not receiving it anyway.
Done.
Thank you. You sound sexy. Okay. John in Arizona is on the line with Jimmy and Luxander. How are you, John?
Hey, I'm good. Yourself?
Just fine. Would you like our audience, of which there is now 1,250, would you like them in chat to refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
He or John?
Excellent.
Am I supposed to be monitoring that chat? Or
nope.
No, ignore the chat.
If anything, I would say ignore it, but people do tend to just talk, and we like to make sure that their pronouns are what they want.
Just, ignore them.
Gotcha.
Rabble. All right, well, John from Arizona, further right than MAGA. Well, what would you describe that as? Were you the John who called back in October and I asked if you were a fascist and you said, I'm fine with being called that?
I don't remember ever calling into this show, and I certainly wouldn't be fine with being called a fascist. So,
what about a Nazi? Would you be fine being called a Nazi?
No, I mean,
well, that's good.
I would prefer not to be called one. If you label me as one, there's nothing I can do about it.
Sure,
I wouldn't accept it. No.
Would you say that the policies of the Nazis are far too different from your own for anyone to recognize a similarity?
I'm sure you probably could find similarities in some of my policies with Nazi policy, but I think that you have to kind of look at that with a broad brush. If you look at the writings of like Inside the Third Reich by Albert Speer, who was Hitler's head architect, there was a lot of socialist ideology in Nazism.
See, that's the thing is people think that socialism exists if it says like, hey, give healthcare to people. And I see why silly people think that. But if it then says, and here are the specific people, and here are the bases upon which you choose, and those characteristics might be ethnic, religious, et cetera, that would make them the opposite of socialists. So it's like healthcare sounds like a socialist thing until you add just for whites, for example.
Well, okay, but let me push back just a little bit here, right? Because I do agree with you that you're going to just say, hey, because this discriminates on the basis of a protected class, right, that we're accustomed to post-World War II, race, religion, you would have to concede that socialism, by its creation, requires discrimination by a national origin, correct?
Via national origin, what do you mean?
Well, if you're from Norway and you're a socialist, and Norway says you're visiting as someone who's got citizenship to China, they're like, well, we're not going to provide you social health care because you're not of Norwegian or like you're not Norwegian citizenry. So that's your national origin.
Is that how that works?
Causes discrimination. Well, I think by virtue of any political system, most of the time, if not all the time, it discriminates bias citizenship. Agreed?
I think it's usually like you might have to
Or
pay
do you,
slightly
do
more
you
for
think
the care,
do you
but I
think that
don't think you're
German
not
laws
permitted to get
apply to
it.
you?
You
Are they?
definitely,
Yeah, but like,
okay, but that's a different thing. Do German laws apply to me are different than do German laws apply to me if I am in Germany? German
right.
laws
So
do
what I'm
apply to
saying
me
is
if
that
I'm in Germany.
if you are a German citizen, then you're under the purview of Germany, and thus you're given the rights, the socialist rights of the country that you're in. So
However, many countries with
you're okay
universal
with
health
discrimination
care
on the basis of apologies. Sorry, go ahead.
What you're describing is sovereignty, and you're trying to basically take this word discrimination, which obviously has less nuance than you want to give it, but more nuance than a lot of people do give it. And you're trying to use it as though the word, oh boy, I'm not done. You're using it in a way where it's like, hey, technically, if you use discrimination, the word discrimination can be fine. Discrimination in isolation is not amoral or moral. There's lots of times that discrimination is justified. But you're trying to kind of apply that now to socialism in a way that doesn't really work. And I got to tell you, bud, the socialist society I would design would be that where if you are in this country, yeah, you still get the benefits of everybody else. But I'd also make the immigration policy damn near open. You'd almost call it open borders. In fact, I probably would. And when you're describing like your defense of like the socialist things, you aren't describing people who weren't citizens of Germany. You're describing people who Germans that performed the Holocaust didn't consider people. Therefore, the Jews didn't deserve the rights that Germans got. These weren't foreigners. They weren't visitors. These were Germans that they didn't like. And you're trying to compare that to whether or not Norway charges people when they get health care in Norway. But by the way, not every country with universal health care does do that.
I don't really understand the nuance. Like, I don't understand the discretion you're making. Like, what I'm trying to tell you, right, is when I say Germany had socialist policies, you're like, well, they weren't really socialist because they discriminated on the basis
because they were
of
nationalist.
religion.
Because they were nationalist. You can't be.
I'm saying
nationalism is a type of discrimination that is anti-socialist.
What I'm trying to tell you is that by the properties of a socialist, like anything really, it does discriminate technically. I'm not trying to use that in some bias. It does create distinction on the basis of citizenship. You would agree with that, right?
You would be able to tell if somebody was a citizen of that country or not.
Okay, if there is someone who was born in Sudan.
By the way, that's not also, by the way, actually, hang on, I have to clarify. Under certain socialist models, for example, a communist model is stateless. So no, there wouldn't be that.
Okay, but we're talking, okay, I don't really know what we were talking about is the socialist policies of Nazi Germany. And you were saying, hey, would you identify?
They're not Nazi because and you already have, and you've been trying to really avoid my point, which is that nationalism, that the nationalism, and then let's add into it the racism, the ethnicism, are things that are anti-socialist. So they weren't socialist because the ways in which they were applied were distinctly anti-socialist. Now, do continue to be the person if you like the optics of I would not like to be called a Nazi, but I would love to continue to defend Nazism. I mean, to your heart's content.
I'm not defending Nazism. I'm not defending Nazism. I think that's really disingenuous of you because I don't defend the Nazis. I'm not saying that.
Except for this, like right now.
What you're asking is what I consider. Okay, what position have I made that has been in defense of Nazism?
Yeah, you are trying to nullify the concept of socialism to be inclusive of Nazism, which actually is trying to whitewash Nazism. It would be to the benefit of Nazis for you to succeed, therefore would be a defense of Nazism.
You think I'm trying to whitewash Nazism by saying that it's socialist in nature?
Yes.
Really?
Correct.
Okay.
Especially to a socialist host.
Because socialism is a good thing. So if you say Nazis are socialist, you're saying Nazis are good.
Quick, would you? I don't think Nazis are good. Please quit trying to pin that on me. I'm not saying that. You would agree with me that Wikipedia is trying to whitewash Nazism, right?
Does Wikipedia claim that the Nazis were a socialist institution?
It's the first sentence when you look up Nazi Party.
Great, let's do it. Wikipedia.
The Nazi Party, officially the National Socialist German Workers' Party.
I'm sorry, John.
Party.
Hang on, I'm sorry, John.
Between 1920 and 1945.
So
you don't understand the difference between reporting that someone calls themselves something versus actually their ideology is literally socialist. Like, yes, it's a fact that they called themselves the National Socialist Party. That does not mean that they were socialist any more than communist China is actually communist, or any more than the USSR is actually communist.
I wish you hadn't given it away. I wish you hadn't given away the game. I want to see something. I'm going to unmute you here in a second, John, but you did the dumb thing. It's no surprise. A Nazi defender often does.
Yeah.
But I just want to check out something. Hey, John, would you do me a favor? You're going to stay on topic with me here. You got Wikipedia up, right?
Yeah. Hey,
Nope. Hang on, John.
Listen.
John, I'm going to mute you because this is my show and I can do whatever I want. It's what gets my nipples hard. John, when I asked you whether you have Wikipedia up, now I'm going to ask you to open up the entry in Wikipedia for North Korea. We're going to go to North Korea's entry, and I would like you to read to me the first sentence of the entrance for North Korea. Can you do that for me, John?
Okay. The first, North Korea, officially, the line is filled with a bunch of pussy-ass bitches.
Oh, I see. Officially, and he cut it off right when it was going to undermine his point. So let me just read it for everybody here. It could be that John can't read. North Korea, officially the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Now, John, would you say that North Korea, that Wikipedia, using the name that North Korea has claimed for itself, is Wikipedia claiming that North Korea is also a democratic state?
I have, okay, yes. There is it. Can we have a conversation?
So, John, will you now admit that what you were doing earlier was a dishonest tactic to try and win these points that the Nazis were socialist, and in fact, you now see that you were wrong to make that claim?
No.
You won't do that?
No.
But you just asked if we could have an honest conversation, and that's what happened. But you won't tell the truth.
Nazism. You kept on saying I'm defending Nazism.
Yeah, I do. I think you tried to whitewash Nazism by trying to attach it to socialism, which is would be a positive thing, and trying to ignore the reality of why it wasn't socialist. And I think the only motivation a person would have to do that is either to lie to people to try and bastardize socialism, or to lie to people to try and whitewash Nazism. Would you like to tell me that I'm wrong, that you were trying to whitewash Nazism because you were trying to lie instead to merely bastardize socialism?
Would you would you agree with me that Franklin Roosevelt said that Germany was a socialist state?
I wouldn't care, because we know Germany wasn't a socialist state. Fascism and socialism are not compatible.
Churchill said that Germany was a socialist state. What about Frederick Hayek? What about Ludwig van Mises?
You know that those people think socialism is bad.
And John, I would suggest that you stop working on this Nick Fuentes impression you're doing. Your voice is jarring like his, but worse. Kind of more, if I'm honest, surprisingly, you're more feminine. John, I don't care whether historically Red Scare pussies called the Nazis socialists. We know the Nazis were not socialists. We know they were, in fact, fascists. We know that even right-wing historical scholars consider them fascist. And I assume you understand that one cannot be a fascist and a socialist. They are incompatible with each other. Do you have that understanding, John?
How am I? I'm not. What? Now I'm Nick Fuentes? What?
No, you're feminine, Nick Fuentes.
This is just a smear campaign at this point. I mean, I'm trying to bring a genuine, honest thing. I'm trying to say there's all these people in the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Great.
Yeah. You think FDR is a Red Scare? He was a Red Scare pussy? FDR was a Red Scare pussy.
I think FDR would have used the word socialist.
He was a Red Scare pussy.
I think he would have called the Nazis socialist if he accepted the Red Scare propaganda that socialism was a bad thing.
He wasn't even alive for the Red Scare.
Okay, you can categorically call it whatever you like. It doesn't have to be just that. By the way, man, you're going to be pissed off the way we use certain other words. I still use the word redlining. It's going to drive you crazy, not Nick Fuentes.
Okay. Anyway,
hey, John,
like,
can one be fascist and socialist at the same time? Can
what?
You be fascist and socialist at the same time?
I would just rely on what the people of history have said. I would rely on FDR, Churchill.
Why would you rely on individuals
Orwell,
instead of historical? Why would you rely on individuals? Why would you rely on individuals instead of historical scholars who can do so looking back with the full picture and the things that those people didn't know about, with the full picture, the full evaluation? Why would modern historical scholarship be more significant to you than the fallacious argument that it was a popular...
I can tell you why.
I'm sorry, I wasn't done.
Forever.
Because of the popular assignment amongst these authorities. Which one were you trying to do? An argument from ad populum or an argument from authority? Which one?
You would agree with me that FDR and Churchill thought that Hitler was a dictator, right?
Yes, and that isn't why he was a dictator. It wasn't because they thought those things that he was a dictator.
I never said it was why, right? But
it is actually you have been. Actually, you absolutely. Excuse me, you just lied.
Just say they were wrong.
Excuse me.
Say that
I'm going to mute you because you just lied again. You absolutely a minute ago said that the reason why you would accept them instead is because of revisionist history, which is you saying that because they said it, that's why it is true. So whether FDR and Churchill said Hitler was a dictator does not make Hitler a dictator. Just like if they had said he was super cute and they really want to give him kisses, wouldn't make Hitler super cute. Though I suspect you feel that way. And I think you want to give him kisses. But I can't say for sure. Now it's unmute so John can talk more about a smear campaign.
You would agree with me that he was a dictator, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they said he was a dictator, and you're saying, well, just because they say it doesn't mean it's true. I'm saying they met with this man.
I said it doesn't make him a dictator because they said it. Independent of whether they said it or not, he is a dictator because we can now, with the context of history and understanding everything that goes on, confirm that he was, in fact, a dictator. And now, when we do that same activity, we can look back and see that he was, in fact, a fascist. Would you, John, like to argue that Adolf Hitler was not a fascist?
No, I don't want to make that argument. And the reason
was
is because
Adolf Hitler a fascist?
Yes, he was. And
can a person be a fascist and a socialist at the same time?
Yes.
You are wrong.
Thanks for admitting that you don't know what words mean.
Right. Fascist would be the extreme right, and socialist would be the extreme left.
You would agree with me that these figures that have a very extreme importance in history, we use them for a lot of metrics for defining what things were at the time between the 1920s and the 1950s. You're saying actually they were right about him being a dictator. They were right about Nazi policies being,
I probably like the way they wore socks.
Private autonomy, centralized economic control, discriminatory on basis of race. They were right about all that, but they were wrong about socialism. It's crazy.
It isn't. I think I would find that they were wrong about a lot of political positions, actually, about the nature of them, who was what. Yeah, no, that's actually not that crazy. In fact, even what they meant by the word socialist back then versus what we mean by the word socialist now would also be a significant part of it. The crazy thing here is honestly this argument style you have of starting with, you would agree with me, as though that's important to what you're going to rant on about, and as though therefore the conclusion you would take from there, which has several points of removal from the original point, suddenly must follow.
No, all I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of figures that aren't connected that all agreed on this. Like Hayek didn't know FDR.
John, how can a person be a fascist? And I'm so tired of this dumb argument from authority argument. So, John, how can a person pull off being a fascist, extreme right, and socialist, extreme left at the same time?
I think it's simple. I think that Hitler repeatedly attacked capitalism. He didn't like liberal markets. He was very much against, financing the elites. And his policies included price control, wage control, production quota. There were forced cartels.
So what were his fascist policies? Because you seem to be aware of a lot of things, and yet you're only listing the things that if you do in isolation to the way all of those things was run, man, it does sound like you don't think he was a fascist at all.
No, he was the fascism is just the collective utilization of the Nazi policy. The Nazi policy was socialist in nature.
So the policy was socialist in nature, but it was fascist in application, right?
Yes.
So what is socialism? Just when healthcare?
No, it's not just healthcare.
So what is it? Because if you don't understand that if the application is fascism, then it can't be socialism. I'm curious what you think socialism is.
I think, socialism is when you have means of production ownership that's collectively controlled rather than private control.
Right. It's extremely democratic. How did Hitler do with democracy? Did he turn the control of everything over to the people?
Democratic?
I think true socialism is only democratic. I think non-democratic socialism undermines the concept of socialism.
Well,
this is why I've said. This is why I said when people. Excuse me. You're not okay. I don't know how you haven't gotten this. You're not going to get to talk. You're not going to get to talk over me. Yes, indeed. Here comes the lecture. Socialism has a definition. And the collectivism of socialism is extremely important. So if we want to call China socialist, for example, because there are some pretty good socialist things they are doing, you can point to that and go, ooh, we're pretty close to socialism. But the thing that makes us feel both far away and not at socialism would be the authoritarian nature of Xi Jinping. That in fact, including the not just authoritarianism, but the centralized authoritarianism into an individual, that directly undermines the concept of it being socialist. Totalitarian control is anti-socialist. And I don't understand how you're not getting it. And I don't understand why we are now 20 minutes in and you haven't figured out that you are a Nazi defender. It is absolutely what you are doing. You are here trying to make Nazism work as you spew this ignorance that fascism and socialism can somehow be compatible. If you took a perfectly socialist society, perfect, and then you go, okay, we're keeping everything as is, except the distribution is now just to the whites, everybody else is exclusive. It is no longer a socialist society. Even if everything else stays exactly the fucking same, once you enter the nationalism, the ethnicism, the racism, it is no longer a socialist society. What Nazi apologetics would you like to present now? Oh, you were talking while you were muted. Hilarious.
So I didn't know you muted me, dude. Okay, but
I just did it again to annoy you. Just so you know, I don't respect you. You clearly are a fascist, and I don't even mean to give off the presentation that I'm going to treat a fascist as equally as you get out of me what you get out of you. Though you are pretty much, you've tried to talk over everything I say and then whine about, here comes the lecture as you try to go on and on trying to make fascism work. But anyway, what's your favorite food?
You cut off when you unmuted me. What was your question?
What's your favorite food?
I don't know.
I muted you because I don't actually care about that answer either. Because I don't care about Nazi apologetics, which you are here doing. And you want to go, I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a fascist. Literally told the screener, I'm further right than MAGA. Western civilization and anything against that and destruction of the grain. Trump hasn't deported enough people. It's not that you're defending the Nazis of old. It's you're a fucking Nazi today. And I'm glad that while I don't think leftism is going to probably take hold, and I think our world is in a lot of trouble, what comes after that might be more pleasant. But unfortunately for the people who are alive today, they're probably going to see a lot of shit. I do think your brand of fascism and the fact that you are at the level of fucking nobody, I don't think you're going to have a very good time either. Unless, of course, John, you are actually Nick Fuentes. Are you Nick Fuentes?
No, I'm not Nick Fuentes.
Just a groiper. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you, John. And I wanted to say thank you there at the end so I could give you back what you gave me, a bunch of lies. That was dumb.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride today.
You can be a fascist and a socialist at the same time.
Very smart.
Anybody want to argue about trans stuff? We'll leave the lines open for another minute. Hang on, I'm going to resume calls. If anybody wants to call and debate Luxander on being trans, you have a minute to call. We'll do it.
We did get a couple spicy ones earlier on Takis, so I got to do a little bit today.
Yeah. Further right than MAGA.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was a crazy thing to say.
I am not a Nazi. I just really think, why are they so bad? They were socialists. Wikipedia says they're socialists. That's what it says, that they are socialists. Not that they're called socialists, that they are socialists. Not understanding the nationalist part of the word Nazi kind of, I don't know, you know?
Yeah. Also, I think fascism and having the state be so entwined with the private capital is one of the things that defines it. Whereas socialism is we don't want private capital. We don't want it. We don't want government control of capital. We want workers' control of capital.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Please enjoy my mud pie. It says in the Wikipedia entry that it's a pie, so you can eat it. Eat my mud pie. You shouldn't have had such a sloppy mud pie. Luthien, are you screening this last? I want to see if this is a person calling about trans stuff. Or Luthien, are you mad that I opened up for another call? Are you let's get the fuck out of here?
No, I'll screen it.
I love you. She's never mad. She would have said that if she was mad either, but she never externalizes her anger. She talks it out. She doesn't she's not mean. She's never mean.
No, I'm just yeah, you can't bottle it up either. I'm terrible about that. I'm not good at communicating through my anger. I love her because
she bottles it all up. No, I'm just kidding. We're good at talking things out. We get frustrated sometimes with certain things, but no, we got it down. We got it down.
Sickening.
Any transies in chat? Am I allowed to say transy?
I don't think that it is a word, so I don't care.
I think it was obviously a failed attempt at a slur.
Yeah. I think it's fine.
Right.
But I also don't care, so maybe I'm not the right person to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I said trans topics, people.
Specifically, only trans.
I guess I'm going to probably, I don't know, see if there's a Six Flags I can head to or something. Since I found out today I'm not even sick. I can just go live normal life. I can go live normal life. By the way, do you see how tan I am right now?
I know.
My
so
complexion
much time in that
is certainly not a part of my illness at all. Never could they be attached. By the way, watch the show more. You guys literally watch me, and at least twice a week, I drink the liquid that turns my burned out, acidy, my liquid. I drink the medication that causes my poop to solidify on air at least twice a week. You see me prep it, pull it open. It's a resin. I'm really excited to not have to drink that. It's called cholestyramine. I'm glad I don't have to drink it anymore. Because right now I'm literally taking 6 doses a day, 3 times a day, 2 doses.
Seems gross.
It's disgusting. It's kind of like drinking orange sand.
Yeah. I'm just like praying that some disgusting tasting medicine can make me feel better.
It's not. It's manageable. It's not disgusting in that way. It's definitely manageable. It's just the texture is what's really unpleasant. Honestly,
Fair enough,
it's sandy. Oh my God! The person's not even calling about trans issues. Then they're taking all of my screener's time up. You can't be socialist and fascist at the same time. That's just how it is. Are they not letting you? Oh, do you need to go right now? Are you mad at me? Are you mad?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I have to cook dinner at some point, but like it's only 6:30, so.
Nadia, I'll bring you on for a moment just to say we already said we're only taking the trans topic for the remainder. You don't want to do how you can be fascist and socialist at the same time. Are you going to debate on it? Are you anti-trans?
Oh no, I'm not anti-trans.
Yeah, no, we're not just trying to chat. If you have a way you want to tell us how you can be fascist and socialist at the same time, you're welcome to. The authoritarian thing, I assume your position is going to be you could have an authoritarian state that's not centralized into an individual. So you could be authoritarian socialist in that whatever the council decides that is applied. But I don't know, or do you have?
I just wanted to say I had an ex who was really, really stupid.
Me too. All right. Well, great call. Thanks, Nadia. I'm just kidding. What and then what?
So she didn't entirely understand fascism or socialism, and she advocated for socialism, and yet she also advocated for fascist things, like she believed in things like the government having full surveillance over everything.
Yeah, there's no doubt people can say words, but we're talking about whether or not a person actually then is, and you can't actually live in a simultaneously, there's no way to have a simultaneously socialist and fascist country.
Pardon me, I had my
HOAs
laptop
are
up
close.
earlier. Yeah. HOAs are probably the closest you can get to that.
All right. Well, thanks, Nadia.
Alrighty. Sorry I wasn't quite the audience that you wanted to attract. You have a great day.
Bye.
Later.
Last chance if you want to debate Lux on whether or not their existence is legitimate. Specifically for being trans, because I'd probably agree with a lot of the other points.
Yeah, because I could also get hit with the your invisible illness is fake phrase. Trans debate.
And then there's the euthanize people with BPD debate.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, which is obviously the one I'm very passionate about.
Of course. You know.
I'm on the other side.
I'm on some list for you.
I adore you to pieces. You're like the only thing undermining my desire to never hang out with people with BPD ever again. You broke the stereotype.
I know. I don't even know. Honestly, I kind of challenge the whole construct of BPD, and I don't know if I count because I'm so not extreme, but then it's sometimes the black and white thinking kicks in and I'm like, oh, I'm crazy.
I'm looking forward to people in the comments complaining about what I just said about BPD and a method to try and victimize themselves and then use it to manipulate someone in their life. Anyway, it's all a game, people. It's all a game. I love y'all, even you people with the BPD. Which BPD are we talking about? Is there another one? The Boston Police Department, all bastards.
People are goobers and they think that BPD is also
bipolar.
For bipolar, even though bipolar is one word.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You talk about me being borderline more than I talk about me being borderline.
It's borderline annoying. By the way, the guy who called in earlier saying I had a fake illness, one of his I should just send you the text. One of his clearly drunkenly written texts that he tried to leave as a comment did accuse me of borderline. I think Jimmy's borderline. This guy, he just thinks he's an expert in a lot when he's really, really dumb. He's the dumb boy. All right. I know what you guys are saying, and I think you think that I think that everybody with borderline is terrible. All right, well, that's our show. No, I just had my run-ins with the condition, and it just left some scars. I'm a little susceptible, and probably a little medium amount, largely bigoted toward them. But I'm not working on it, so there's the upside. The good news is they can take a joke. We're off. We're off. We're done, people. I'm going to appreciate that one person with the email. It's like, I have really bad BPD, but I appreciated that. That was funny. There'll be somebody who will redeem the rest of you, and then the rest of you will just be mad. The views expressed by Jimmy Snow are necessarily the views expressed by Jimmy Snow and the line.
Yep.
It's in our contract now. Like when people sign up as a contract host, they have to condemn, like, do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn BPD? That's our little version of that.
True. It's in the bylaws.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Leave a comment today and use the word oatmeal, and I will know that you made it all the way to the end of the show. That's just for fun. That's just for
fiber.
Me. Or use the word fiber, I guess. Is that, you just associate oatmeal with fiber?
Yeah. Heart healthy.
I can't currently eat oatmeal, but it is something I'm going to try to slow dose my way in. I can't eat, basically anytime I add any new food, like the dark chocolate you saw me, I'm not even joking. When I first started, I would take a snip off the corner and see like and then like there was probably a solid 2-week period that I couldn't have more than like 2 squares in a day. Oh. Otherwise my stomach would go crazy. And because I'm hypersensitive to caffeine, this is unrelated to being sick, hypersensitive to caffeine, the caffeine in chocolate can make my brain go, my heart. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. No, leave a comment, not a live chat. I know you're here now. If you write oatmeal, you can write anything. I know you made it to the end. Leave a comment in the comment section with the word, and like, don't just say oatmeal. Make the people wonder why so many people are talking about oatmeal. And as we leave, please, next time, and I think it's this Sunday, Forrest and I are on together. I don't want to have to prompt it. So people, please remember to set reminders to tell Forrest to fart. Just fart. Let the Forrest doesn't fart. 14 years he doesn't fart in front of his wife still. He hasn't farted in front of his wife. So we're going to be spamming super chats on Sunday telling Forrest you got to fart in front of your wife. All right, bye people. That's the show.